the Comics Aficionados live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube, the best damn comic book podcast YouTube show that you're ever going to find. I've got the best panel of pseudo-experts. I don't know. I'll call you pseudo-experts this time. But we've got opinions. We've got a few things to talk about. Not the busiest week as far as news, but we did have a few things roll out there. And making his return to the Comics Aficionados, we've got Heel Yule all the way from Berkeley, California.
Yeah. Well, I'll be in Berkeley later on today. How's that?
Wow, that's I'm one of those guys. You can't afford to live there. He's probably under a bridge somewhere.
That's true. I cannot afford to live in Berkeley. Not anymore. Not when I was living in little hovels, it was okay. But if you want to have a room with comic books, you got to make some heavy dough. Thank you, customers.
Yule, are you excited? We're in Mania season.
I am. I'm just about on my downward slope out of wrestling, but I've been waiting for WrestleMania to mark that line, and I am looking forward to it. There's some good matches, and yeah.
I'm a little disappointed their headline in the NXT card with Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to put that out there.
Dolph Ziggler coming back, baby.
Wait, Dolph's in NXT now?
So well, they're all going back and forth every once in a while.
He's their champion now.
Yeah.
My goodness. That was quite disappointing. I used to like NXT. That's the only reason I had WWE Network, but I gave it up about 4 months ago. I couldn't take it anymore.
When they went all day glowy, it was difficult to hang with it, but there are bright spots down there, and if you want to see people you haven't seen before, NXT is definitely the way to go.
If you want to see people get injured by wrestlers who aren't ready for television, NXT is the
No, that was SmackDown that happened. You go AEW or SmackDown, obviously.
What's her name? Lash Legend? She's breaking people left and right.
Well, she could break people for sure. Yeah. She's a big woman.
Gervais Dargan, back on the panel. I didn't think we were going to make it, buddy. How you doing?
It got close. Two things. I'm doing well. Two things happened. Was having a very stimulating conversation with the wife and lost track of time, and then Twitter wouldn't let me on at a certain point. So, but I made it.
Okay. Did you take your tongue lashing? Are you okay? Are you in trouble?
No, I'm good. No, it was actually a positive thing. Yeah, we're making some breakthroughs here, so we're good. Yeah, things are good in the Dargan household. So it's kind of worth it, but it made me late. So,
well, I'm glad to see your barber shop finally opened back up.
Hey, look, man, it's like what happened was the real truth was, but I couldn't say it. Apparently, I was going out to eat certain places, and dudes just kept standing up with their hands in their pocket, going "Ba wop ninny bon," and I was like, "Oh dang, I think I pissed off the Decepticon gang too much. I had to go into hiding for a bit. People know what I look like, but I'm good. Finally, my barber got over her COVID anxiety, and I was able to get in. So yeah, now I can present like a human being again."
Your hair was looking pretty good, man. You should have showed it off.
No, the line is good now. That's what happened. She kept screwing up the line, man. So the line is good now.
You look a little different. I liked it. Who else we got? We got Nerdy Girl Creates Carrie from. You're in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
You're not Doc's neighbor, are you? That would be terrible.
No. He's got better cable.
I know he does. He's got better internet.
Yeah, definitely has better internet.
All right, so how's everything going with the manga life?
Good. Loving some new series. Going to talk about that later today too on my channel.
Well, definitely. We'll definitely let everybody know that's the place to go after the Comics Aficionados. About 30 minutes later is going to be a live stream over on Nerdy Girl Creates.
Yeah, come check it out.
Nice.
Who else we got? We got who are you? Are you Josh Williamson or are you Josh McDonald?
I am the Josh Williamson. Oh yeah, writer of Batman and the Flash. Suck it, bitches.
You're killing off the Justice League, also, aren't you?
I am. Never mind. I'm Josh McDonald. I take it back. I would never do something so stupid. Yeah. Good morning. I'm here. You were talking about internet, better cable. I don't know if there's anyone that can throw down that gauntlet with me. Mine sucks.
We did try to record This Week in Batman, and it did not happen.
And just for everyone that's listening, the first thing Wes says to me when we went in the green room was, "Oh, your internet looks better today." I was like, "Fuck, man! Like you're gonna jinx me, dude."
Five-man panel works better, Josh. He's trying to get you out of here.
Well, my dog almost took care of that. I don't know if you noticed, but I went inside, I muted and I turned my screen off in the green room. It's because my dog's cone got caught on all my laptop wires and my whole thing just started sliding. So I was like, mute, go off. I was like, Jesus. So I'm here.
Hopefully
I'm here.
the cone gets removed soon and his ankle heals up.
Should be in about a week. So
very nice.
Oh, that's good.
Finally, we got Doc. It is free agent season in the NFL.
Yep.
It sounds like the Steelers are going to go into battle with who's the dude from the Bears that wasn't
Mitch
very good?
Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky. What an upgrade! Eh?
Well, I mean, I guess over like a 93-year-old Ben that moves like a 93-year-old
We almost
man.
went to the playoffs with him.
Yeah, and he still moved like a 93-year-old man. Hey, look, you know what? I'm fine. It's a Band-Aid on a axe wound.
Maybe we can get Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's totally gonna happen because they're definitely gonna trade within their own division for a quarterback that is you know what? He's actually relatively fairly paid for the position. So
Out here, they're trying to get rid of Garoppolo.
yeah, we don't want
Yeah, he's going to get traded. Maybe he'll go to
nobody trade him to Cleveland. You can
That's
do a
another
swap.
thing.
Cleveland
people are
just
saying.
traded for Watson. What are you talking about? That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
they
that's
traded
right,
Baker
huh?
Mayfield.
Well, this is a
got
football
Deshaun
show,
Watson.
everybody. American football.
Wait, I thought Watson signed in Atlanta. No,
No,
he went to Atlanta.
no, he didn't. He got traded to the Browns yesterday
Oh, he did.
for 3 first-round picks. All right, enough football talk. We don't want to bore too much people with the sports ball. Let's get back into the comic books. We got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if you knew this, Josh. You probably know this. We're coming up on Pride Month. We had the June solicitations from Marvel and DC, and people were grading them to see who's, I don't know, celebrating Pride Month the best. Who do you think is coming out better on this one? Is it DC, Marvel? Who wins Pride Month?
Well,
Wow.
as the resident panel homo, I'm gonna have to go with DC. No bias. No, I mean, it's funny because we keep bitching about what they're doing to characters, and from a gay perspective, I mean, I usually don't say this. I just want good representation, but we always talk about like, hey, Pride Month's a joke. You spend a month being like, oh, rainbows and glitter and stars and hey girl and all that jazz. And then after you don't hear anything, and DC was like, okay, fine, we'll keep Pride Month going all year long. And then we're like, oh dear God, no, make it stop, take it away. So
Didn't they get their Pride Month books out in like August last year? DC. Didn't they fuck up their releases?
I don't think
and didn't
they
get them
did,
out in
but
time
they
last
I
might
think
year?
you're thinking of the Black History Month stuff that got pushed
Yeah.
off this year.
Oh yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Black History Month that they didn't get out until like April.
now they did create their little like Pride logo that they started throwing on certain books, and they carried that on some titles going forward. But I mean,
Lobo.
yeah. I
Hey,
get
look, I don't care about this.
I'm
this
thinking
year.
of Lobo's first appearance and his last appearance recently. Yikes.
My
Red
question,
Superman and Lobo?
my serious question is, who actually even buys these anyway? Does anyone?
Yeah, I sell them.
I'm not kidding. Like,
I-
okay,
I
well,
sell them.
but you're in Berkeley, man.
Well, I understand that, but it's not like not everybody walking through my my store is represented by Josh. They still. I mean, it's like the Superman. Everybody's talking about the sales. It's not a slight increase, but I've increased. I have people that are buying it for their friends. So it's not exactly one for one as when it comes to that, but I don't have a Batman Urban Legends in stock. I keep them out as long as I can. And not only did the 8th issue sell, but so did the issues that Tim Drake weren't in, and it's from the same people. So I think there's an audience for it. It's just slowly occurring. And the problem is let's say they're like Javane and they don't want to buy anything over $5.
$5.
And,
It's $5.99 now, son.
$5.99. Exactly. That's my point.
Hey,
That's my
look over $5.
Or $6.99 if it's card stock, or $9.99 if it's once a year. You know, that type of stuff.
I heard something bad happened to a guy with that one.
No, but I'm really not even joking about you. I mean, it's a serious situation that we have to, contend with. You know, who needs a $7 comic book full of a bunch of stories that, do they matter? We've seen many videos that people, they kind of just forget these characters later on in the year.
Dude, they forget them 5 minutes after they finished reading the book.
Right. I agree. It's a shame, but no, they do sell. It's just I don't get heavy amounts of them. Well, I mean, I would be a fool to do that.
All right. I mean, that's fair. I'm curious whether or not it sells outside of like Berkeley area.
I hear you. Yeah, the coasts, the bigger cities, and stuff like that. Probably not.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like even the areas within a city, if they have multiple comic shops, the areas that aren't, more like the neighborhood type areas. No, because
you're right.
Like if you get out of a heavily, like the demographics get a little bit more representative of the rest of the country, do they sell? I don't know. I mean, I know people buy them. I see them in the store. I've literally never seen anybody buy them in my local shop. There's the copies of every one of the Marvel voices, doesn't matter which version it is, that were there the day of release. They're the same copies that are still sitting there today.
Yeah. Although I'll say this, there isn't, I mean, it's not like there's like a celebration of straightness in comics other than comics itself. But as more and more characters are coming out of the closet and there's more stories that are being told that are representative of this, it seems less needy or important to have it, a month celebration of the comic. Having said that, those are kind of evergreen titles that you can just have on your shelf. If you have a spinner rack, it's like one of those type of things. So, there might be people, but, some people just want their Batman and Spider-Man also, and they're not going to get that extra stuff, regardless of what it is. Although I will say, speculation-wise, those might be good books to get, if only because it's possibly an intro. Well, there's an audience out there for specs, and so that's a thing also.
Yeah, as a spec book, sure, maybe, I guess. Only problem is none of these characters ever fucking matter. Like the only character that I can. No, I'm not.
I don't disagree necessarily.
Like, I mean, okay. It's taken a year, and they finally stuck that Somnus character from last year's Marvel Pride book into the Marauders book. And the only reason that character even got in there is because Steve Orlando, that wrote it in the first one, is now writing Marauders. And the minute Steve Orlando's gone, that fucking character is going to vanish again too. The only person that actually ever uses any of these new characters, that even for a spec purpose, is the guy that is the person that created them in that anthology book. I mean, and then tries to force them 4 or 5 different times into another book just for them to get ignored too.
Oh, but Donny Cates might do something different with them, so watch out.
Doc kind of touched on something that I don't understand is we keep doing these like Pride books, and they keep putting a focus on like, oh, we're creating this new character. I'm like, there's plenty of characters here, just utilize them. Like, why can't? It's same with Detective Comics right now. They had a prime opportunity to reestablish Batwoman in this comic right now, and then they just pissed all over it. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just wish they would think things through better. I saw a couple people in the comments being like, oh, do you feel happy with representation? Like, no, I honestly want less done better.
That's kind of one of the things I don't understand is we're getting these anthologies every year, Josh, but none of them are really celebrating creators like from the past, maybe bringing them back to talk about some characters or some of these characters and really elevating them. It's just I don't know. When the comics had the same cover, it's like do something different. Like you're doing the same thing every single year. Let's try something different to shake it up a little bit.
Agreed. Completely agree. And usually, like, the stories that are in here are quick. Sometimes they're like a little 8-page story of, Midnighter and Apollo on a beach. Like, I'm good. I would rather have them, play a supporting role in a major storyline, if I'm being completely honest. In
fairness, everyone that has ever shown an aptitude for writing Apollo and the Midnighter will not be writing Apollo and the Midnighter. Because the only people that have done that are Warren Ellis, who they won't hire, Mark Millar, who won't work for them, and Ed Brubaker, who won't work for them. So
Steve Orlando.
I would
say Keith Giffen do something also with Midnighter.
He did that. Oh, okay, you know what? If you could, okay,
it wasn't that
great,
who
they could get? They could get Garth Ennis and bring in Kev. If anybody remembers the Authority Kev,
I remember Kev
books.
Jesus Christ.
Midnighter in Apollo in the what is it? Action Comics. Pretty damn good run there, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy with that. It's giving them exposure. I think it's solid work. It's definitely better than what God, why can't I think of his name? Jesus, he just did Superman and the Authority. No, Superman and the Authority.
Oh, Grant Morrison.
Yes, Jesus. Sorry, my coffee needs to kick in.
Fuck Grant Morrison.
Yeah, he did a shitty job with them, so I'm happy to see that they're doing better in Action Comics. Well, he took the characters and he turned them straight into like, "Are you cheating on me? You're cheating on me," and I'm like, "Fuck my life!" Like this is not who these people are.
This is his second chance to fuck the Authority. He already did it once when he got the entire Wildstorm line canceled. Fuck Grant Morrison.
He only did 2 issues. He could have done that.
That's the reason. Because he only did 2 issues of the tentpole fucking series.
If I hit a sore spot, Doc?
Yes. I have never bought a thing written by Grant Morrison since then because fuck Grant Morrison. He ruined the best line in comics by not doing his job and not even bothering to quit.
Man, that was some potential that you were you're buying. Like that was like your first Bitcoin right there. Was believing in Wildstorm.
Yeah, except for up until that point. Yeah,
and he's like, "This is great. It's good. I'm all in." And then nothing.
He didn't even fucking quit.
Read big numbers, Doc. How you like that? There's always something like that.
Working.
I don't know. So what does everyone think about this? Are we getting enough variant covers, Gary? It feels like that's kind of what it's turned into. Variant cover month and anthology.
I think DC's all about variant covers. It's like variant covers all the time. Variant covers for everything.
But they're damn good. I will say that. If you're a fan of variant covers or good artwork on comics, it's worth that extra $1.
I don't know. I think
but what about the story?
John Kent flying around with Jay on his shoulders.
All right. Not all of them.
There's a reason I put it on
the regular variant. I mean, this is a little. It got a little too gay for me, even.
There's like one with Tim Drake, and he's like stroking that one kid's head. Like,
oh God,
there's gonna be a lot of action in this comic book. Jump in here. I was like, my goodness. We do have a few super chats to get into. Lane Kramer. So, which writer needs a razor's edge? R.I.P. Scott Hall. Well, we're going to throw that to the resident wrestling expert. Which writer needs a razor's edge in memory of Scott Hall?
Oh, is this supposed to be an honorific or let's put him in the ground type thing?
Yeah. Razor's edge is devastating.
I am, gosh, I feel so bad if I pick someone really horrible. I'm not a fan of Teenie Howard, so she could take it. How you like that?
That sounds kind of dirty, Yul. She can take it.
She can take. Well, I don't know if she could take it. She seems like a pretty small lady. So I mean, it'll probably devastate her if she took a razor's edge. So But as long as she doesn't write, it's okay.
Definitely a huge loss this week with Scott Hall. That was pretty crazy. Obviously, we kind of knew it was coming up, but
Jerry Duggan needs it.
Jerry Duggan, he does some things okay.
yeah, Savage Avengers.
He could take it too, probably. Is what I think.
He's got a fat neck.
Exactly.
Darth Bobcat. I feel like it's Pride Month come early every year. I get what he's saying. You know what I'm saying, Jermaine? It feels like every month is Pride Month right now.
Hey, look. If DC or actually HBO Max ever does the L Word DC edition, y'all won't see me for days. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm there for. Yeah, I'm there for that one. That's right. Yeah, Wonder Woman,
All
Vixen. I'm good. So
you know that Penthouse still makes comic books, right? You could just go buy.
They
that.
do. Wait a minute. I was not told about this.
But this is IPs doing this. You know, it's different.
No,
when
but I
it's
can
an
watch
IP.
the HBO Max series and get away with it. I can't bring Penthouse into the house and get away with it. I'm not sure why. This is an unwritten rule. This is art.
We've got Callum Lyle. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I think the reason Kelly Sue is projecting so much is because her husband is terrible at night, like a typical carrot. Where did this come from? Were you guys talking about Kelly Sue DeConnick?
Nope.
No.
But you know what?
Happening.
I'm
These
in
people don't need help.
100% agreement with. I'm on 100% agreement with this statement.
I didn't even know she was projecting this week. Haven't heard anything from her. Interesting theory. We got Jasper playing. Thank you so much, Josh. Thoughts on Batman Pride variant cover by Amy Reeder? Your boy spent an entire video dissecting it.
I'm not a fan of it. I mean, look, for Pride Month, they're gonna do gay things, and I guess whatever. It's gonna make someone's day. My thing is, it's doing exactly what I didn't want to happen with Tim Drake. Like, Tim Drake is an excellent character, and now every time he's brought up or shown, it's like, oh, he's gay, and
He's Iceman now.
Yeah,
he's been Iceman pretty much.
Would it upset you if they fridged this new character and really gave him motivation? He comes up and there, he opens it up, the boy's in the fridge.
You know what? If it gives some balance, I'm all for it. Why not?
Could have it. It was a striking cover.
I know. I mean, we just discussed fridging in Nightwing, so why not just be even more on the nose? Come on, DC.
Absolutely, it's on their minds.
Yeah, we expect nothing less from you.
Gal Wild, does anyone really care about Pride Month or even these comics because gay characters don't seem to sell? Tom Taylor will be called the champion. I think a lot of people probably care about Pride Month. Certainly the companies do.
Oh, we were discussing this while you weren't here, though. Do these comics actually sell to anybody? I mean, we were talking about it earlier, and outside of your, high LGBT demographic sales, like stores that are in that area, do they sell? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they
don't
move
think it'll be a
merchandise.
top 50 seller, but it's a $10 comic book on both sides. So,
although maybe Marvel only putting out one book this month or that month is showing you how much they think it sells also.
Well, it's kind of like what they do with their voices thing. Although
that's the only thing they're putting out.
they're
DC's
gonna
putting
do
out all
variant
this
covers.
other. Well, let's be real about that. They're just slapping a new cover.
Yeah, hey, that's how you make the money. You know better than I do.
Well, they can make money doing that on one book, and bravo to Marvel for not going crazy and doing like a ton of titles. But whatever. I think they sell fine. It's just you got to be realistic on what you expect as far as like numbers are going to be.
Certainly, the very first anthology they really did that was mass produced, Love is Love, sold a lot. I think that one sold over 100,000 copies.
Yeah,
so that was a little different, circumstances.
Sure.
Yeah, different circumstances. You actually had some solid creators on there. I think the intention was different. Clearly the intention was different. I read that. Some of it was some of it was really, really good. And I think this is what I was going to say in response to this question is, does anyone really care about Pride Month? I think we have to look at what we've turned Pride Month into. Is this just like, which again, I kind of blame the gays for this, but flashy and oh my God, how amazing are we? And look at us and we're cute and we take our clothes off and whatever. But it's like if you look at like Black History Month, in the month of February, you're constantly seeing commercials on TV or learning lessons about what the Black community actually went through, how they endured, how they suffered. And I think they suffered in greater ways than we did. But you don't get any of that with Pride Month. You don't learn any of these things that why these people, fought back like they did in the 60s and 70s to try to have, some type of normal life. And it's like, if you could implement that idea in some way, I think people would respect it just a little bit more.
So it's more of a celebration of culture rather than a celebration of history and understanding.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I would consider this culture. Maybe.
I think that's what mainstream America thinks is gay culture.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness, that's what we were. That's what we were given in pop culture during the Will and Grace era. And then it kind of calmed down and everybody's like, oh, wait, no, gay people are just kind of like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they're perfectly normal. And now we're back to Jack from Will and Grace amped up to 14.
Well, the thing is like on TV and stuff, you have to be more of a character, and a normal person, whether they be gay or straight or whatever, is boring. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to make a sitcom out of that.
No, I get that, but and obviously there's going to be some degree of exaggeration for to make characters unique. I mean, if anyone was actually friends with any of the people from Friends, we would have murdered them probably.
Friends is unwatchable.
Yeah,
I went back. I watched all of Seinfeld, which is still amazing to this day. I got through 4 episodes of Friends. I skipped to season 3 because I thought that was the good one, and I still couldn't watch it. It's absolutely terrible.
Well, but I never thought either of them were terribly good in the first place.
That's because you don't know funny, Doc. If you didn't like Seinfeld, I don't know what to tell you.
I did not think it was funny, but regardless, no, obviously you exaggerate characteristics and everything to make television show and Hollywood characters unique. Otherwise, it's just looking at the guy that works in the fucking convenience store. But at the same time, the only thing they ever seem to exaggerate with gay characters in pop culture is their gayness. And that's what is obnoxious.
Well, yeah. Apparently, I've been dared to shout out Nerdette's newsstand. Tristan is in the live chat, so welcome back to the channel. Apparently, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm glad to see that you're here and enjoying the show. Let's go on to the next super chat here. We got MCU She-Hulk's face was leaked on a cup, so like someone pissed in a cup and it turned green or something.
No. Thermos has a line of cups that feature She-Hulk, and I guess for whatever reason, those cups got released early on Amazon and then pulled down. But it's the first like image we've kind of seen of what Tatiana Maslany will look like as She-Hulk, and it looked really, really good.
I bet you I could Photoshop that shit and show you what she'll look like. She's going to be green with red hair. Am I right?
I mean, yeah, but you can see. Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was actual like MCU concept art to be sent out. So it was our first like quote unquote official look without getting the official look from Marvel.
Well, there you go. I was unaware of that, but I'm not that big on She-Hulk, I guess. Lane Kramer, I'm off, but Jordan White's for Razor's Edge, it's Into the Sun.
I'm fine with that. Razor's Edge, Jordan White, right into the sun.
Right into the sun.
Lyle. I had this scenario of Joss Whedon and Slott meeting Donny Cates' wife. Imagine that. I imagine that's the Donny Cates stuff.
Oh wow,
that wouldn't be cool.
At a convention, I'm assuming were those the people that would make rude comments to
they were creeping on her or something,
or his girlfriend at the time.
That was a strange set of tweets. I didn't mind covering it, but by the end,
I was sitting there going, "Wait, Donny Cates is married? Why do I fucking care?"
Because
you know what? It makes sense because he's one of the only normal people or relatively normal people that seems to be working at Marvel these days, it's the one that's married.
Well, there you go. We got Kenneth Dowling in here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Hello. Happy Saturday morning to you all. This topic makes me think of Kate and Batwoman and how her orientation utilized in her military background. Do a great story with her that's compelling. Would it be better to just do like a plus size issue like Kate Kane Batwoman story, to do something cool than a bunch of little 8-page stories no one's going to remember?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've given her own run. They didn't have a good story to tell. You know, like when they started the New 52 and they had J.H. Williams, doing the book, they were taking it in an interesting direction. And then clearly, that got muddled and left. And then since then, they just haven't been able to find their footing with her as a character. And I think this is DC in general with a lot of characters. Like, they need to stop, go back to the core of who these characters are and what they represent, and move forward. And with Kate Kane, it's not that hard. Go back to just like soldier. Like, if you take it from a prospect of she is a soldier and you approach her character that way, you're going to get something that feels different and it's going to feel true. And then you can implement the fact that she's a lesbian throughout the story. But, go back to who she really is and why she's doing what she's doing, and you'll get a good book.
Right.
Man, there was such a good moment in that Detective Comics issue, Josh. They just ruined it.
Dude,
she got Rose T-code.
Yeah, like Nightwing is like concussed. He's out of it. Scarecrow throws him out of a window. Batwoman's trying to get up there in time. She realizes she's not going to make it. She makes a tactical decision, uses a bomb to blow out the side of this other window on a lower floor, and then jumps and then grabs him. And you're like, fuck yeah, that was pretty fucking awesome. And then she drops him for Batman to swoop in and save the day, who hasn't been around for like 20 issues. Throw my water bottle.
I was actually, I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm like, oh, typical. Never mind. But welcome back, Kenneth.
I called it. Yeah,
absolutely. Gal Lyle says, I hope Sana Amanat is fired. I think your hopes are going to be fulfilled on that one. Obviously, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth, but I believe that is the case. We've got Federico De La Casa. Thank you so much for supporting us. Why do they always show queer characters they have to kiss? I don't remember Gene and Scott kissing so much in 50 years than Wiccan and Hulkling in the last 20. There's a lot of kisses. There's a lot of canoodling, Josh.
It's all implied.
There is. I think it's kind of a I don't know. Like, we'll show you.
Because they don't know how to write a story for them.
I also think exactly. That's what I think. Yeah. It takes up a page of story if you have a long embrace.
You bring up a valid point there, Federico. There's a lot of making out going on in comic books these days. We've got Ideator. If companies want to celebrate the differences of characters, make them actual characters. Everything other than white feels tokenized.
Yeah. I see the difference like with manga too, because manga has LGBT characters, but they have a story and they feel like a character. With this, they feel what are they going to, it's like they do something with them and then they don't know where to go next. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Tom Taylor does a good job of it in Seven Secrets. So the whole, Amon and Kanto characters, it's like, it's clear they're in a gay relationship, but it's like, it's not the defining point of the characters. It's just, it's a relationship they enjoy, but they're very good villains. I love that series. But yeah, that's what it should look like. Yeah.
Tom Taylor writes another gay grouping of characters. I didn't know that. I mean, he does that all the time, doesn't he?
I don't think it's a gay grouping. Yeah. I think it's these two characers out of there's like 8 or 9 main characters. These two characters are gay.
Yep.
I don't read it. Yep. Yeah, he did the same thing really well with his Suicide Squad. Like, he had some LGBT characters. Like, there would be a part of the story that focused on their background that kind of leaned into it. But then other than that, it wasn't a priority.
I hear a lot of people get upset when like an older white male maybe writing a story. Like Mark Waid, he wrote that slave narrative
Strange
some
Fruit.
Space stuff.
Strange Fruit.
Yeah, that's the one, Strange Fruit. And I remember people kind of getting upset about that. And, you hear that sometimes, like, oh, they didn't have obviously this person didn't have whatever you need sensitivity reader to I just wanted to make a comic book, dude. That type of stuff. Tom Taylor, I mean, I don't know anything about what his predilections are, but it just seems that like he's like the guy that's okay to, he gets the pass. I mean, I can throw gay characters in here all the time and no one's going to have a problem with it.
I personally don't give a shit when characters are when there's public displays of affection or kissing or whatever. It honestly, it doesn't bother me. I could care less.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as long as that is an aspect of the story and not the story.
Agreed. And I think that's
that's the problem with too many of the LGBT focused books, is that is the story, not just tangential to the story.
I disagree with you. I think they just throw it in there really ratably. But I did have a question for Gervais. You've got animated concepts coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many sensitivity readers have you hired to make sure that these books come out right?
Absolutely none. As a matter of fact, I get more recruits when I'm being insensitive. No, it's except for the fact that there's currently no females that are basically a part of the creative team or the group that we have together. That's not by design. It's just that no females have reached out yet. And if they did, it would still be based on, are you any good or not? Are you any good at lettering? Are you good at coloring? Are you good at writing? Are you any good at drawing? It's not like I don't, unless you have a smoking gun where, somebody's like, look, this is the Women Haters Club and don't even think about sending a female this way, which is what happened about a month or so ago with a certain person whose name rhymes with Vida Ayala, where she basically said, if you're straight, don't apply. It's like, that's not usually how this stuff pans out. You say, I'm looking for somebody to work on a book, and whoever responds, you pick the best person. And then if that person just happens to be black, gay, and a lefty, then I've hit the jackpot. If they're not, it's like, just make sure you get this working on time. That's right. Just make sure you get this working on time. That's the real problem. Is finding, and I'm not saying this about my guys, so don't nobody get sensitive if you're listening. I'm just saying that 9 times out of 10, the problem isn't talent, is timing. It beat the deadline.
Gervais,
yes.
The problem is, I am terribly disappointed in you in one way. You just pulled a Fred Durst. You pulled a Fred Durst where you tried to rhyme Vida Ayala with Vida Ayala. You can't rhyme a word with itself. You should know this, sir.
I will say this, Gervais, and the offer is going to stand. If you would like me to be your sensitivity reader, to make sure that you have sensitive and appropriate comic book material, I'm willing to do it for, I don't know, $20 an hour.
No, but that's the point. So the thing is, like we say, that you have to have somebody of that particular ethnicity or sexuality, whatever it is, to write the book.
I'm just sensitive, man.
I'm just saying. One of the projects I'm working on now is basically going to feature a 16-year-old black girl. Now, I'm obviously not a 16-year-old black girl, but by some standards, I would be eminently unqualified to even attempt to write a character in such a way. It never occurs to anybody I could just talk to other 16-year-old black girls, hopefully without getting arrested, and say, hey, I'm writing this character.
That's the way onto a list, sir.
All right. We do have some more super chats. We got Kenneth Dowling here. Says, nice point, Josh, on black history and gay history. I want gay characters just like I want black characters. Like everyone else, just make great stories.
Yeah,
that's definitely the key to it. Got to put the story first, and then obviously every story ends up being a celebration of the character if you do something to elevate them.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jordan Fugate, also known as Jordan Fugate, won't be able to stick around for much of the live stream today, but we'll catch the replay. You guys are the best. No, sir, you are the best. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, and we will miss you, and I hope you enjoyed the live stream replay. And I want to apologize in advance for anything that Doc says.
Hey, you do not get to be humble on my behalf. I am the goddamn best.
I was laughing at a comment that Francisco made to Gervain, and it says, "That sounds racist. How dare you trying to hire people based on merit?"
I'm telling you, man, it's a man's world. It's after a while, because I think what the problem is, what people have to start realizing is that as we're all becoming, whether we like it or not, more enlightened, we're going to start realizing that basically we just all have nuts in our group. There are always going to be some people who they say certain things and don't realize they're completely contradicting and undermining their own argument. Mm-hmm. So it's just like at the end of the day, we all look. Batwoman has had 2 TV seasons on already. I own both because I bought them at a heavy discount from Best Buy, but I haven't watched them yet. Nice. When I do sit down, but when we watched the Crisis crossover, my daughter's only comment about Batwoman was, "Man, that's a terrible wig." That's it. Man, they couldn't do a better job with that hair than that.
You know what? Stephen Amell's wigs were fucking terrible on Arrow too. Yeah. So it's something with the CW.
They're cheap. Opportunity. That's what they're cheap.
That's right.
Their wig budget just isn't there. We've also got Eric O'Sullivan. If you are a fan of soup, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy's got a great comic book YouTube channel. You can go there for the comic books. You stick around for the soup. He's got these soup shorts, the soup du jour. Definitely go check those out. Eric's a great guy. I believe he's, he might be on the old subway in New York right now. I think he's a New Yorker. Progressive messaging in Big Two. Maybe it's a good thing. Kids are not reading comics anymore. Models of normalization is cute, but it's not making good stories such as manga, of which kids are reading.
Yeah, that's true. It like I said earlier, there's more of a story. Like the character feels like a character. They're going through something. I feel like with DC and Marvel, it's just like we're going to randomly make somebody gay, and then I don't know what we're going to do with them later, but let's just do it now.
They are the underpants gnomes. It's take a character. Step 1, take a character. Step 2, replace them. Step 3, make them gay. Step 4, question mark.
Yes.
Step 5, profit.
There's a dartboard, and they throw a dart and see who it lands on, and that's the person for the month. But they have no game plan.
A lot of planning going on there, but kids are definitely reading the old manga. I can tell you that. Hopefully, they're not reading Berserk because that is not for kids.
No.
Oh, word! Right?
That thing is rough. I got the big book with me today. I was like, whew, kids ain't looking at that book. We need to put a lock on it. This is rough. We've got Darth Bobcat, hire insensitivity readers. So correct. You have a choice, man. You can hire someone sensitive like myself to help you out, or you can hire someone like Doc that will try and ruin your line and get you in trouble.
Balance.
Oh no. I will absolutely make you fucking money.
You're making some headlines, not the ones you want.
He's always right.
Doc is always
exactly. We're on the Doc is Right show.
We still need to make those T-shirts.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
I was vomit as soon as I saw the art. Oh, God, what have I become? Promoting this crap.
I'm gonna say Darth Bobcat might be onto something because we live in a day and age where when a villain does something villainous, like people get upset, they get pissed. So maybe hire insensitivity readers, and we'll get villains that are actually villains again. Who knows?
Could happen. We've got MVP Maxfield Bob Priestley, another wonderful comic book YouTuber. What's y'all's thoughts on the latest Punisher and World's Finest issues? Well, I did a full review on Punisher, and I liked it a lot. In World's Finest, spoiler, will be featured in the Best of the Week video I do with Drew. What'd you think about him, Josh?
I thought Punisher was solid. It was much better than I expected it to be. So, whether it maintains that quality, we'll see. World's Finest had my internet not crapped out, and we would have done our This Week in Batman. I would have praised the shit out of this book. It is so good. It is so good. It's what we want. I know Gabe thought it was solid. I loved it. I'm not going to speak for someone else who visits this panel. True.
I think Gabe is selling himself short. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no, I thought it was a fun book. The art is freaking fantastic. Dan Mora, he's just a legend in the making. And then Mark Waid, like he came in, he told a story. It feels like it feels like what we like in comics, like going back to like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, that type of vibe. It's fast paced. There's actual story. And it doesn't feel like it's been there, done that. I mean, it feels somewhat fresh, even though you're kind of doing an old dog's trick. So I liked it a lot.
Anyone else have any thoughts on Punisher World's Finest?
Didn't read
I've got World's Finest in my stack, but I haven't read it yet. So I'm glad.
Man, you were gonna dig it, man. I'm just putting it out there. Like, it's fucking good.
I'm glad to hear it.
World's Finest is good.
They don't take any breaks in it either. There's no people talking at fucking lunch. Like, it is action.
And for $3.99, that's all I'm saying.
Yes. $3.99. You can't beat that. It's almost $3.99 in today's market. Man, Gabe Hernandez, World's Finest was good. It was a little too busy. Sorry he gave you too much story for your $4, Gabe. God. No one can make you happy, sir.
Gosh, stop throwing personal attacks, man. Oh,
the old timers came in the store and they flipped through it, and then they were like, "Oh, Doom Patrol," and that's all they needed.
That was really surprising. I was not expecting that at all.
Ooh, Doom Patrol.
So yeah, if you like Doom Patrol, we got a good amount of them in there as well. But really interesting stuff. Really interesting cliffhanger on that one as well. Does anyone else have anything to say about the Pride Month and who wants it more, DC or Marvel?
No, just do better.
Yeah.
Let's go to DC and Marvel casting comic writers. There was an interview this week on Adventures in Port Days where Nadia Sheamus, who's going to be writing this upcoming X-Force annual comic book. Basically, one of the editors in the X-Men office, she'd never talked to him. They never went out there and said, I want to write this book or whatever. They just cold pitched her on the comic book itself. Obviously, Javed, you've worked at a publisher. You started out as an intern. You came up as an associate editor and whatnot. Is that normal? Should you be casting the writers for the book, or should you be putting out a wider net when you're looking for these talents?
No, I think I haven't been in the industry since the mid '90s professionally, but I think that's at least been one of the standards since then. I mean, what is it when you go get a guy just because he wrote an article in the Atlantic or whatever it is, or a New York Times bestseller, and you bring them on board? How is that any different? You're just picking somebody because you think they're going to appeal to a certain target market or get you a certain amount of attention on the book, and you just throw them on whatever book you're writing. Like, there's a book now that I'm reading, The Monkey Prince, with Gene Yang, and what I'm finding interesting about the book is that
Batman and Robin.
Spoiler. Batman and Robin are heavily featured in it, but the Batman voice is really weird. It's like it's almost like he's doing like a modern day faux Adam West kind of a presentation with Batman, and almost to the same thing with Robin. It comes off very 66 before, I guess, for the new millennium or something like that. It's just, and I think a lot of times they're just bringing on writers who I think for one reason or another, other than whether they're well suited to the characters or the project itself, they're like, well, if I hire this person, I check this box, and therefore it's po facto, this book will be a success. And so I definitely think it's part of industry practice. I think some other people have to actually pitch projects and kind of demonstrate that they have the skill and ability to handle a character, or just much less write a comic in general. But while I wasn't surprised by this, it was like, okay, in some cases this explains a lot in terms of what's going on in the stories that we're getting. So yeah.
Well, they also, again, it's kind of like going back to the previous conversation a little bit. They're hiring someone who's in the group that is the character in the book. I assume everybody has at least a writing credential to their name or some interest in the industry that they're being brought into. I would hope. I do often think that when it's creator-owned stuff, it feels like people.
Gabby Rivera
is she wrote books, is what I'm saying. At least she wrote books, but yeah, she was a perfect example. We're gonna do a gay Latinx character, and that was, what was her name? America Chavez. So Gabby Rivera got the job. I guess they've been doing it for a while. At least when we're talking specifically groups of people or specific identities, maybe they go and try and get that person. Gene Yang, for Monkey Prince. Well, it's the Monkey Prince aspect. They weren't going to put Matthew Rosenberg
Batman
on that
Superman book, and his Batman's actually pretty good in there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand like what he was doing, and maybe it's on purpose. Maybe he's purposely trying to, for the purpose of the tone of that book, he's writing Batman that way, or that's how the Monkey Prince perceives him based on the relationship they have in the book. It was just weird, and it's like, yeah, you're right. He did write the Batman Superman thing, which that's why maybe it's more intentional than I'm realizing. But it's like, but like like this idea of like. You're picking a writer. You're picking a writer to check off a box, as opposed to picking a writer whom you think will bring the best voice to the book. It's just, I mean, it may work sometimes, but maybe it might happenstance. But it hasn't been my experience. You want to bring a writer onto a book who has a particular voice, who has a themes they want to explore, has ideas and has perspectives that they want to bring, whether it's to an existing or new character, that's basically going to tell a story that's going to basically engage people. So it's like, I know that's too much to ask. I've been learning of late that I have to manage my expectations. But the simple fact of the matter is, it's like if you keep if you want to get Ta-Nehisi Coates because he all of a sudden became a believer in reparations, and they want to put him on Black Panther, have at it, Hoss. But how did that work out for you?
Well, it's the edit. I mean, it's like you said, Wes. It's DC and Marvel doing this. It's not any slam necessarily against the creators. Gene Yang's very accomplished, and Nerdette said it in the chat. Also, he's a very good writer. He might not be right for the book, or they might specifically be targeting him because there's a Chinese main character. And again, that's the editors or whoever's getting him to pitch that stuff also.
First of all, I'd like to I have two things to say. First, we need to take a step back in calling writers that have done one thing that won an award very accomplished. Sorry.
Yeah, but we're not talking about
Gene Yang had one thing before ending up at DC.
No, he had a lot. American Born Chinese was just the beginning.
What the fuck else?
Oh, well, he also did Boxers and Saints.
Nobody's heard of it.
Well, I'm sorry the fact that you've never heard of it. I feel like I'm getting a conversation with this guy I talk wrestling with. I always say the same thing about AEW. Nobody's heard of them. They don't fucking matter. My point is one thing that the majority of readers or not even a majority, just a plurality. Well, we're going to talk about DC and Marvel readers. If you're inclined to read Fantagraphics books, you probably have had a chance to read.
My point is that it's kind of like calling Iron Man an A-lister. No, it's devaluing terms like A-lister or.
But you can be accomplished. Within writing without selling a lot.
No, you can't. Writing is a commercial enterprise.
If you are not selling, writer without being discovered. Yeah.
If you are not selling, you are not accomplished. You may be talented. You are not accomplished. It is a commercial endeavor. The primary aspect of commercial is selling. It is commerce. If you are not engaging in the commerce part, you're just talented. You're not accomplished. It's not wonderful. It's just fine.
Well, I'll just jump in and say he sold pretty well with Avatar, going all as far back as I think 2014 through 2019. So consistent sales on a book with that, I think you can consider that accomplished.
Okay. All right, so here's the dictionary. The definition of accomplished: highly trained or skilled.
Oh.
I would say that yes, you can be accomplished without.
And I'm not saying and I'm not saying Yang is not highly trained or skilled. I'm just saying that Batman and Monkey Prince just sounds weird. That's all.
But I mean, now if he's specifically writing it in that way with the Monkey Prince, it makes perfect sense. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he has done things that are. And not only that, he's done it with such different groups of people that like him. Kids and adults and Chinese community, American born ones even. when I was
point
high
taken.
school growing up, all of my friends, it would be like ABC. You know, you say ABC. That's all you say.
So we got a few super chats we got to get here. I guess I don't know. Doc's this better be not pro Doc. Let's put it that way. Ideator Wes, you can't expose Doc to nothing but shifty comics and expect a flawless diamond. Also, completed King of Spies was great. Doc, I am trying to ruin your comic book life by making you read bad comics. I'll admit that.
Okay, fair enough.
Have I destroyed your perspective on comic books by making you read so much Brian Michael Bendis and Jason Aaron?
No, because I still hate them and they're still fucking terrible.
Maybe eventually you'll end up liking the X-Men, but King of Spies is absolutely fantastic. How good was that shit?
Dude, that was it was
good.
great. I mean, it was literally every now granted though, by the kind of swerve at the end, pretty telegraphed, knowing, I mean, like Mark Millar's twist. I wasn't surprised by it. When he goes off to kill the biggest monster there is. I'm not surprised at how that turned out. I kind of knew where it was going from the minute of that line. But no, you know, an old, cynical, dying James Bond going on a revenge spree across the world for all the people that he had to protect before. I fucking love it.
Absolutely. We got Kenneth Dowling. I got Mark Wade's World's Finest. Very nice book. I had the cover by Jason Fabok. Fantastic. Jim Lee's was good, but I might enjoy Fabok's more. As far as entire work, do you guys prefer Lee or Fabok? So Doc likes Jim Lee. Right, Doc?
Yeah. I'd have to say that Jim is a superior artist. Now, Fabok's definitely faster these days, but he also is not running a company.
What if
even
what if Jim Lee was inked by Al Vey instead of Scott Williams? What do you think then?
Oh, come on, dude. That's dude.
You know what? That is a good point. Scott Williams' influence on how amazing Jim Lee's art is not to be understated at all. Same as Willis inking him.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Lee's better than the other guy, Jason. But Jason,
I think it depends on the story
better,
that you're telling, which artist is right for the story, because they're very different and they're both very much at the top of their game. They're like elite. So
yeah,
depends on the kind of story you're telling.
Well, I think one influenced one more than the other, and you know, I'll wait.
No, the other thing is with Jim Lee. Let's be honest, like Jim Lee was almost like a freaking revelation when he hit the scene.
Yeah.
Like when he
it was something special when he got on X.
Yeah, no, but it's like, and now going back to our conversation, like when I was hanging around in continuity comics and stuff like that, it was like people were almost ready to kill Neil because of the fact that he was like, see that Jim Lee kid? He did the draw ball like that. And people were about to break out the pitches and pitchforks and torches over this. But Jim Lee, it's like when he hit, it was just like, it was something else. Like with Fabok, I like Fabok. And when I did come across him, I think he was doing the Justice League one. I just don't remember seeing much more of him after that, other than Three Jokers. It's like, I don't think he's as prolific as Lee.
Three Jokers up against Hush.
Oh,
I'll give you that.
Jokers.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
well,
I'll give you
really
that.
good.
Definitely.
Story-wise.
But that's Jim Lee.
I'm just talking about the art.
I'm talking about Jim Lee like mid-'90s. I'm talking like 90s Jim Lee. It ain't even a contest. It's like
I don't know, man. I'll just put the Huntress picture up against Fabok's Three Jokers. You know,
in fairness, I would have to say that Jason Fabok, for as talented as he is, he did not parlay his success. He was never able to get that next thing to make him the truly household name.
No. Because he was on Justice League and he killed it with Jeff Johns on Justice League. He took a break because he did a long run, and that dude gets hyper detailed. Came back with Three Jokers. They were supposed to have a follow up, and DC did not respond.
No, I get that. He got sabotaged. I'm just saying it didn't happen. Now, I'm not claiming it's his fault. I'm just saying he was not able to.
Not many people have done the Jim Lee thing. Maybe Joe Quesada.
Quesada did.
That's a close one.
Well, I mean, all of the Image guys did. You know what?
Yeah.
But
managing Image is different than managing DC or Marvel.
No. I get that. But you know, a lot of the relatively recently, you had like RB Silva and all of the other Stuart Immonen clones. They've all managed to kind of but they have all managed to have a follow-up that actually made them bigger.
Yeah. Because a Fabok at this point, he might end up almost in the Arthur Adams class, that section of the industry where it's like, oh, it's always great stuff, but it's like
it never comes out.
We're still living off long shot.
It's dessert.
Yeah, my goodness, how can you be saying this, Doc? Your favorite artist put out like 9 comic books. The guy that dresses like Liberace.
Steranko?
Yeah.
He did the entire Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. series.
Now that guy's accomplished.
He's accomplished.
Did a great Captain America.
Oh my God, Steranko! All right, I highly recommend get the Nick Fury that I think it's ACO or ACO or ASO, whatever the artist's name is, and James Robinson writing. It was a 6-issue mini. It's Nick Fury's son, but he tries to do the art and story like those old S.H.I.E.L.D. stories that Steranko did, and it's very good. I like him.
We got Federico De La Casa on the case. It seems like these writers want to reshape the characters themselves rather than understand the heroes and write them as they should. Happy Father's Day.
Well, in fairness,
Father's Day?
Early.
Is that coming out?
I thought it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
I was about to say
St. Patrick's. I was like, what's going on here? Did I miss Father's Day again? I should have got a dinner or something.
Yeah, you would. We would.
You know what? His point is pretty valid though. You know, if you look at it, you have like Nadia Shamus doing this X-Force annual. I mean, back on the topic. Her knowledge of these characters, and don't be surprised when it ends up happening, it'd be like me if like I have one buddy that we'll talk about X-Men from time to time, and every time he brings something up, I'm like, no, dude, that was from the cartoon. It's not from the comics. He's like, wait, what?
Yep.
Because he was a cartoon guy. He never read the comics. Yep. And I always
of Devin Gleason.
Yeah, and like I'd be sitting there and we'd be talking about like, you know, like the time traveling. He'd be like, yeah, when Forge sent Cable back or Bishop back to go catch Cable, I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And then he's like, yeah, from the I'm like, oh, you're talking about the cartoon. Forge lives here. They are from 2,000-year different time periods. They had no knowledge of each other at all before they showed up in present day continuity back in the 90s. So no, like, you know, so you have all these creators now that are their knowledge of these characters is based on let's just say creative license taken in other
It's based on pop culture.
It's not so you don't have actual comic fans doing this stuff anymore.
Yeah, but it's also you're talking about they're pulling people from where basically for the most part, so I'm not talking about television necessarily, where serial story writing, at least to this degree, isn't the norm. So you're not it's like probably the only other medium or art form that has anything close to this would be, I think we'll agree with this, would be wrestling, where you're constantly telling a story, where you're constantly going pretty much beginning, middle, somewhat of an ending, beginning, middle again. The story doesn't have an end of it to itself. So they're just not looking at these characters like they have to come into a continuity, tell a story that's personal to them, but still maintain that continuity to leave it for the next person to come into the sandbox and play. They're used to telling stories where it's like, at the end of 90 minutes, it's over. At the end of 5 years, there's a story where it's done. It's not a never-ending story kind of perspective that they come in with. So you have to realize, you could play around a little bit, bring in perspectives, but ultimately you kind of have to leave the status quo somewhat where you left it before you began. And that's my take on that. When you have a lot of people coming in, it's like it's not what they're used to. They're not used to like I have to be mindful of this continuity or this characterization that came before. It's like I come in and just tell the character however I want to, and then I leave. And then, oh yeah, you guys figure that out. So
Dark Admiral March here kind of chimes in on this as well. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Another bad side effect of DC Marvel casting writers then in turn write the main characters as kind of self-insert.
Yeah.
There's no there doesn't seem to be any of that having to try out, send in script proposals type thing. They're getting people that maybe don't even want to write Spider-Man, let's say, or work for the big two, coming on in and doing that. They might have the love of story, but they might not have a love of the character, or like Doc says, it might come from the cartoon or some other. I used to use Spider-Man toothpaste all the time. I know I can write this character, or whatever. And back when people tried to break into the companies, you had to do these little pitches, and you did have to write the story, and at the end of the story, nothing had changed really with the main character, and you're supposed to write a compelling story. But people come in now and they're gonna do what they want. They don't get any pushback by the editors. We're seeing that more and more these days.
I just think it's weird because you got like not as Seamus, right? Yeah. X-Force is kind of inherently violent, right?
Sure.
Has she ever written a violent comic book? Is that what she's interested in?
Is that what Marvel's interested in right now, though?
Well,
that's the real question.
Apparently. It's supposed to be some big action-packed story. Like, why the hell are you even hiring this person? Shouldn't you be going out there and fighting people that are going to fit right into this genre?
Where did she come from?
Nowhere. She just showed up.
She just showed up. She just met. She was born yesterday, and it's writer today.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of what is the structure in terms of what is the role of editorial in all this. There's a great book about Harlan Ellison where he talks about his experience with working for Star Trek, about City on the Edge of Forever, which by most Star Trek fans, original is considered like one of the greatest episodes ever. And when you read
Harlan Ellison will tell you so too.
Exactly. It's so different from what he originally intended to when it came on the screen. But that's because they say, look, this is what this series is. These are what these characters do. And we understand you're a great sci-fi writer and all that. But if you're coming to write Star Trek, buddy, this is what Star Trek needs to look like on some level. And so I would highly recommend, I can't think of the name of the book off the top of my head, but I would highly recommend that, because even at a certain point, Harlan comes to an epiphany, if you will, if I remember the book right, because I read it a long time ago, where he's talking about, I think it was Peter David, who kind of smartened him up, if you will, to say that, look, at a certain point, you are coming into somebody else's world, into somebody else's house. You could come in and like maybe hang up some LED lights or, put a little covering over the lampshade, but pretty much it's like an Airbnb. But once you leave, you should leave it in the state in which you found it. So it's like that is just a necessity of when you're doing this kind of work where it's art and commerce. It's not as personal as you might. It's not as personal the process, much less the end product, as you might do someplace else when you're just writing a novel that's just for you. But even at a certain point, J.K. Rowling, once she establishes a certain tone in Harry Potter and whatever it is, can only veer so much away from that before she ends up turning fans off.
So you're saying like DC and Marvel doesn't have that one person to say, no, you can't do this.
I don't think DC and Marvel, I think DC and Marvel, I think they're so driven by what's gonna get us the best merchandising out there, what's gonna get us the best licensing out there, and we will gladly sacrifice these characters on the altar of commerce to get there. That's what I think goes on. And I've heard from a few writers that's what it is.
We got Kenneth Dowling. Jim Lee is among my all-time favorite artists. X-Men, Wildcats, etc. But Jason Fabok lately is gaining steam. Come on, Kenneth. Thought you were a writer. You can't throw two latelys in that one sentence. Throw me off. Fabok is definitely he's on the comeback. Jim Lee ain't going to be doing any interiors anytime soon. You know what I mean? Last time he tried to do it, he did half an issue. And he quit.
Oh, well, he realized this series was already over.
Yeah.
They're
The
probably
line was already
over.
over.
Before he started.
I don't think I need to be here.
Yeah. What's
Chris from
bad?
Comics-
Oh, go ahead.
Nope,
Go ahead.
nope.
I was going to comment on that. You're good. You're good.
Chris from Comics Exposed, haven't seen you in a while. Glad to see you're back. Spider-Man toothpaste worked really well on hemorrhoids. Doc, is that true? Oh, Doc isn't here, but
Yeah, no,
Doc
he's
told me
stepped away.
about that trick.
Oh,
Anyone else?
that wasn't toothpaste? Is that what you're saying?
You're using hemorrhoid cream. for
It came out of
breakfast,
like a Spider-Man face. You just push it down or something. Like a Pez. Totally different applicator.
Eric O'Sullivan, the role of editorial is to follow what mandate the publisher is laying down. These days, it's about moving the needle and using the platform for activism over escapism. Writers are pods and punks. Are you a
Don't
pod
agree
or
with
punk,
that.
Raid? Jeez.
No,
You're an editor. Never mind.
No,
You're
but no, we're in some ways saying the same thing. The thing is that there is someone that you have to answer to. That's the whole point. If she's coming in and writing the X-Force annual a certain way, the only reason why that's happening is because editorial is allowed to happen and the publisher's allowing it to happen. If they had different mandates, then basically going along with this, well, we're going to do what we think the mainstream public wants, then you would see a different story out of some of these writers than what you're seeing right now. But the thing is that the editors, and if you want to say by extension the publishers, those people who are the gatekeepers of these properties, these characters, these stories, or whatever, their interests right now, it doesn't seem like, are aligned with at least the comic fans. At least with the comic book fans, the people who have been around for probably, let's all admit it, 15, 20 years plus, maybe for even some of you, 5 to 10 years based at the rate of change that goes in the industry. The simple fact of the matter is these writers are only, based on how the system works, can only go as high as the editor will allow them to. So if they're writing stories that basically toss all the characters' continuity and what they are to the wind, you better look at the editor and the publisher, because that's the only reason why they're getting away with it.
Very good point. I actually have a conversation with Aaron Sparrow that should be up later tonight about something very similar. Definitely be on the lookout for that. We got Ideator. Don't break the IP. Editors are to blame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely part of the issue that's going through comic books. Thank you so much to everyone for supporting the channel. If you haven't given us a thumbs up, I think we're closing in on 100 likes. We've been well over 200 people for most of the live stream here. So thank you all so much for joining us. Having a great time. Let everyone know that we're having some fun here. And we've got the rumor out there that Sana Amanat is fired. I'm pretty sure this is true. It's been in the works, as far as I know, for about 18 months. And I don't expect to actually have that confirmed or anything. But I know a lot of people have, for a long time, have thought like Sana Amanat was the shadow governor of Marvel Comics and was the real EIC. As far from what my sources that have told me that I've talked to, that were actually in Marvel, that was not the case. So we shall see what happens with this. Gervais, what do you think about Sana Amanat possibly being fired? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? No big deal.
The only reason I'll say it's a good thing is because now I no longer have to talk about somebody who I never knew about in the first place and whose names I keep mangling every time I pronounce it. I mean, this would be an honorific to a former aficionado, because this would basically be his moment if that's what it was. But it's like I honestly, it's like she was never like Stan Lee or Roy Thomas, or I'm not as good as with the DC guys. I don't know, Mort Schaffenberger or whatever guy was on that DC.
You can just make up names and they're probably right.
It's like to me, honestly, until I got to discover this channel, I just never knew who this person was. This was always way too much inside baseball for me. So, I mean, I find it interesting that I believe that if I like to think conspiratorially, if they are getting rid of her, they're keeping it undercover, because it's kind of messed up. You're like firing a person who's basically the creator, if I remember correctly, of the character that's about to come out in your major TV series launch in June. But it's like, but other than that, I mean, that don't look good in any way. But other than that, it's like, I can't say good riddance to bad rubbish, because I just don't really know it like that. But I guess good riddance. I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
first.
Oh, no, good luck on your future endeavors to keep it wrestling related.
Yeah, right. And thank you, Julie Schwartz. That's probably who I was thinking about. With
Julia Schwartz, yes. No, like
Julia Schwartz. Yeah.
with Sauna, I don't think you're going to see much talk about this. Probably just because the corporate lawyers won't let them. More than likely, if the reason that
Right.
we have that has been leaked is accurate, they are absolutely at risk of lawsuits and everything, and they're just not going to talk about it publicly.
Yeah.
Now, whether her being gone is a good thing, yeah, I guess. But the damage is already done. Well, the damage was done 10 years ago. When she was brought in, she also brought in a lot of, well, in those circles, they're referred to as fellow travelers. People that they're all on the same path. So she brought them all in. They're all still there. None of them are going away. A lot of the direction isn't going to change. The direction she helped usher in, that's not going to change. It's ingrained in the corporate culture these days. So no, like it's one thing to get rid of somebody whenever they're first starting to have their influence. It's another thing when their influence is 10 years already put in place. You're not going to have any. Getting rid of somebody now is it going to change that?
Yeah, well, she's definitely who Daniel Cherry wanted to be when he grew up, but he didn't stick around long enough to to basically get anything done. But it's like,
yeah, Daniel Cherry was putting DC on that same path. Now, probably still, he was there for long enough to probably bring in more fellow travelers and have a significant impact on the direction moving forward. And that may take a long time to root out or to reverse course. It's already probably ingrained in DC's corporate culture at this point. And if not, then all they're going to do is replace him with somebody else. Whoever decided to bring her in is just going to decide to bring her replacement in. Whoever brought Daniel Cherry in is just going to end up bringing in somebody with a similar mindset. So it doesn't really matter. You haven't gotten to the head of the Hydra.
Yeah, no, I mean, but to Gabriel Hernandez, who just said in chat, the point is that, like, to me, again, it's too much inside baseball. It's like, if anything, few people, like he said, few people know who she is, and even fewer know what she does. And I put myself in that camp. And if there was a time for you to find out what she was and what she contributed, this would be the perfect time for her to be doing like a publicity tour to basically promote and push the character she basically created, which is about to become a major series on Disney Plus. And the fact that they're not doing it, it's like, oh, okay, it's going to be interesting to know what happened when it came out. But at least apparently, Disney's trying to get ahead of whoever it was that decided to basically out her at such an opportune time. It's just not cool. But it's like, honestly, this really is almost, well, in terms of a legacy perspective, it renders her a footnote. It's like whatever culture she's put in place, she's by and large not going to get any credit for it in terms of the annals of Marvel history or Disney history. She's just not.
Everything will still stay quiet. A year from now, we might finally start, once whatever potential lawsuits or legal issues go away, maybe we'll start hearing a little bit, but it's HR keeping HR issues very quiet.
Yep.
Not surprising. That's what HR does.
Yeah.
They're supposed to shove everything under the rug. So
they but I remember when Dark Horse had their problems with their dude and DC had the problems with their guy. And if this is true about her, I mean, wouldn't this be something that should be talked about a little bit more vociferously?
Yes and no. Like with, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just going to say, yes, it should, but I think Gervain's right. Like, they're not going to because of the TV show coming out.
Yeah.
And I say this, I say this because they've already started releasing. They'd already released media packages that like she's prominently in talking about Kamala. Yep. So I think they're going to try to just be as quiet as possible, try to get her out of the way as quietly as possible, and then go from there. Some people might kind of rise up and try to speak to it, but I think they're going to shut it down as fast as they can.
I think the Eddie Berganza thing, that was too much of an open secret, and it was already too out there in comics media for a decade before anything happened there. And by then they're like, well, it's not like it's a fucking secret.
So it'd be a different story if she was in the job position 10 years later. Like
it would be, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think also the fact that, let's be honest, she's a minority woman.
Right.
And they are whereas Eddie Berganza is an ostensibly white dude,
easy target.
White straight dude. He's fine to ruin because it backs up the narrative. Whereas, ruining Sana's reputation, or at least even allowing it out there, would be counterproductive to their narrative. And additionally, she wasn't involved in day-to-day operations as Eddie was. And when Dark Horse lost their guy, they're fucking Dark Horse. I mean, if they even have an HR department, it'd be surprising. They are not backed up by Warner Brothers and Disney's lawyers sitting there going, here is exactly how you need to play this in order to not damage our quarterly earnings reports. So yeah, that's I think those are very different circumstances. Yeah, personally.
All right, so we got a super chat from your friendly neighborhood banker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I believe he's also a wonderful YouTube creator as well. Definitely check out his channel. Focus on deviated characters, maybe a mandate to prevent creators from becoming money when stories are presented in movies and television.
Yeah, that's not beyond the realm of possibility.
I'm certain that they definitely go out of their way to try and give people as little as possible on the things that they created.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a guarantee. And additionally, they're also trying to make sure that in the future, with potential loss of character rights, or muddying the waters, not loss, but muddying the waters as things become public domain, and a lot of the questions on what is and what isn't allowable still haven't been answered by a court. They want to have options open.
Yeah, you'll never see a court rule on that stuff. They'll always settle before they do. But that was an interesting point. He meant derivative characters. I'm sorry, but your friendly Haitian neighborhood banker. You left out an R, and I crapped myself trying to
figure it out.
What that word was. My bad on that one. Thank you
so much. That's how She-Hulk and Spider-Woman got created. So that's not a yeah.
All right, so I don't think this one's all that interesting. Obviously, I made a full video on it. We talked about it. We'll see if when they finally make it announced. So we did get an interview this week from Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing talking about their upcoming Captain America Sentinel of Liberty, which will be the Steve Rogers Captain America, while we have the other Captain America featuring Falcon Cap. Does not sound all that exciting to me, Carrie. It sounds like Falcon Cap will be doing the Captain America stuff. We'll have Sharon Carter out there doing superhero business, while Steve Rogers settles in and tries to create a community around himself and learn Procreate.
Yeah, I read that article, and I can pretty much predict the future of this comic. He meets some kid who's not white, and he's gonna probably get involved in some type of thing with this kid, and then they're hinting that something Bucky's gonna do is gonna probably lead him to chase after Bucky. But I just don't. Why do we have two Captain Americas? Can somebody answer that for me?
Well, Doc's the
I can give a.
Oh,
I need to clarify here once again. The plural of Captain America is not Captain America's. It is Captain's America. Apparently, I really pissed off that fucking some journalist for correcting their grammar, too. The plural of Captain America is Captain's America.
All right, Gervais, why do we have two of them?
Oh, because they need to seed the ground to drumroll. They're bringing back Hydra Cap. That's all this is about.
Oh,
they're going to bring back Hydra Cap, the greatest. No.
That's what made me
They're
stop
bringing
reading
back
Captain
Hydra Cap. That's right.
Well,
They're bringing back
Steve
Hydra Cap.
Rogers is just a Cosmic Cube like imposter version of
Yes,
him.
because
The
he's
real
not the
Hydra
real
Cap
Cap.
He's literally a
prison.
figment of our imagination.
That's the sinister secret behind his shield, is that since in the new reality, Cap was always a Nazi, the simple fact of the matter is this is now Hydra Cap is going to make his vainglorious return to the Marvel continuity, and we will all be better for it.
I'm looking forward to those variant covers, Yule. You gonna buy someone else?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think Alex Ross did a few of them. Those should do well. I'm gonna get anything that's arty looking. But I can't go too hog wild. I mean, if I just got like one of each, I'd probably have like 50 copies of Captain America on the shelf. And that's not meeting, not just the regular cover,
What do you think about this interview with Lanzing and Kelly? Were you excited about the direction of Steve Rogers?
No, I started glassy-eyed about a third of the way down. It sounded really, really boring. And then I started thinking, all right, let's think about all the Captain America writers that are out there, like Roger Stern. And I wasn't even a fan of the Grunwald stuff, but Grunwald, Jack Kirby, and now we're at Brubaker, Colin and Lansing. Ooh. This is like, no, this is horrible. And then on the artist, I was thinking about all the artists that have worked on the book, and maybe Gene Colan and Jack Kirby, and there's Sal Buscema, and even the Ron Lim stuff. Again, I'm not big a fan of that, but that's a guy, Mark Waid and Garney, and I don't even know who this dude is.
Steranko, man.
This guy is not a no pedigree with this guy, as far as I know. Oh, with Canaro, the guy who did Captain Marvel or something like that.
Isn't that a woman?
I meant person when I said guy.
Oh, I think it's a woman. It's Carmen Canaro, the person that was doing Captain Marvel.
And I don't care. I just don't care. No, it sounds horrible. And then reading the content of what they're talking about, and you're right, Kelly. It says, I don't say your name enough. It sounds like they're going to be sitting down and eating and doing soup kitchens and stuff like that. That's a snooze.
Yeah,
I'm done.
When the biggest hook is the caveman gets a tablet, which is essentially what this is. Look, the old dumb man gets a tablet and uses this telephone. What the fuck is this? It's not fucking Captain Caveman.
Like Captain Caveman.
It's not a goddamn Flintstones Jetsons crossover. What the fuck? I mean, no, I'm not even this is if that is your hook, and I'd have thrown him out the window. They wouldn't even be allowed to leave through the door.
My goodness.
Just some superheroing, give him his, awesome boots back and throw the shield around.
Yeah.
And bust up some criminals, and maybe that leads to a story that leads to a big villain that isn't Red Skull, and then there you go. It's like it was 6 or 8 issues, and then you're done, and then you're going on and doing just rinse and repeat for a few times. You don't have to, destroy America in his mind, or bring back Evil Cap or whatever.
You know what would have been better, and they would have gotten all the same kind of positive press if they literally did the Rogue Savage Land story with Captain America in basically a fucking like loincloth running around through the Savage Land for 12 issues because he's stuck there somehow.
Sounds hot.
Or you could do Captain America Neo-Nazi Hunter. Sometimes the best way to fight evil is with a different kind of evil. No.
You do love that character.
Oh,
You're a big Nick Spencer
Hydra Cap
fan?
is great.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're a big Nick
the
Spencer
Hydra
fan?
Cap. Well, I don't know if it's fair, but that Hydra Cap character is great because it's like you literally make Captain America a Nazi, left him like that, and you let the I don't know, like you said, the Casper the Friendly Ghost version. He's the new Cap now, and he just left it there like, well, we're not going to talk about this, guys. Nobody's going to bring this up, so it's like now it's time for us to have this conversation with this serious element of the room because he's still sitting out there in the middle of the desert someplace, chained up, doing whatever he's doing. He hasn't broken out already. This is not right.
Captain, look, Captain America is all of our imaginary friends now.
Literally.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Doc. I've been talking about this. You're right. It was a shard of a made-up cosmic cube, right? It was that girl.
Yeah.
It's the one that's Star now or something.
Yeah. I mean, I've been arguing this for a while that you're right. It's the Hydra agent that got the tattoo, and he's still just sitting there being evil.
We do have a couple of super chats we'll get to. We got Ideator, Cap and Procreate, enough said, JFC. Stanley. Yeah, I don't think that he would be in agreement with this. It's just, he's using pencils. My goodness.
There's going to be a stay-at-home dad. Is that what?
Well, that's what they're doing with
like.
Aquaman. There's nothing wrong with stay-at-home dads either. I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Well, I guess Cap will have a YouTube channel then too. Eventually.
Yeah, you can start a YouTube channel.
I'm gonna let's explore who Steve Rogers really
Today
is.
we're gonna make the perfect omelet.
He was an artist, and then he didn't get his stuff done, and then he went and was Captain America. That's all you need.
Wait.
Comic books.
So it just kind of dawned on me that the Hydra Cap, his origin is essentially Hitler's.
Exactly.
He was a disappointing artist that decided to
there
join
you go.
a
Come on now. Bring it home, Doc.
Together now, Doc. You made it good. All right.
And remember, even Captain America couldn't make it in comics, so I should tell you something about all this. We talk about meta commentary.
My goodness. We got Kenneth Dowling says, answer to your question, the same reason we have 2 Batmen, why we have 2-3 Spider-Men and Spider copies running around. It's a pandemic called derivative. The cure is original storyteller.
The cure is throwing them all into the sun.
The problem is that original storytelling usually is developed at other companies. Yeah. And the problem is that we all, I mean, in some way, shape, or form, like these IPs. And, a lot of people say that the 90s, the 80s and 90s kind of killed comics, Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, because everybody's trying to amp up and get bigger and badder. And then we get Nazi Cap, You just got to keep going.
And not realizing that even with
people.
Yeah, they're not realizing even like with Dark Knight Returns, it was like that was an original take, however you say it was an original take on Batman. It was somebody's voice where they had a story they wanted to tell about Batman. The same thing with the Watchmen. He wanted to tell about somebody else, but they were like, nah, son, we ain't trying to ruin all our IP like that at the same time. So you can have these characters over here. Oh yeah, Watchmen. That's it. You can have those guys over there. We just bought those. And even then, even then with those, he wouldn't even let them use those. Nah, son, we just bought those. So just make some up.
Josh, you were a screenwriter for a time. Is original storytelling hard? Do you think the fact that the indie comic scene is so not superhero centric right now, it's a lot of different genres other than superheroes, where a lot of the new original storytelling is being developed, that it's not really transferring up to the big 2?
I think one of your biggest problems with the big 2 is we don't let our characters grow. Like we get 2 to 3 years worth of growth and then kind of go, oh, no, we can't have this character be better than so-and-so. And they revert them back. One of my favorite characters is Nightwing. There's no reason Nightwing shouldn't be more standalone by this point as a character. But every 5 to 10 years, we've got to revert him back as like, no, he was just the sidekick. And, we diminish the growth that was there. I think that's the problem that we see. But then you have those writers that try to give them growth, try to build them up, and they do a good job. But when you set them back, you have the audience that was like, wait, what was let's get back to this. And then you do it another 3 or 4 times with different characters. And now you've got 5 or 6 characters that everyone wants to be Batman or Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah, as much as I like Green Lantern Rebirth, I think that's a fantastic story. But I think they should have let it just be dead. The character had been replaced successfully.
I think you're right. I mean, there were still people that hated Kyle Rayner, but you're going to die off anyway.
I think that the idea behind Kyle Rayner itself is kind of stupid. Why would you pick an artist to be part of a police force? But I thought the character and the execution was good, and I ended up liking it. So
yeah, I mean, and a lot of time was spent with Wally West being the Flash and right. Barry Allen not coming back.
That's a travesty. There was no reason to bring Barry Allen back. None.
Right, and I mean, I like Barry Allen, but I spent more time with Wally West, and the Silver Age happened where the Green Lantern's a different Green Lantern, and the Flash is a different Flash, and even the shift of Batman and Superman were different. And, you basically killed off those characters. But DC, they would have those JLA, JSA reunion type issues every year. And eventually, they had to fold those guys back in story, into continuity. And then we get Crisis. And then we get big events. And now we always have a big event. But Marvel has never had to have a Silver Age situation happen to those characters. All they keep doing is adding. Even in the 70s when they added all the black and lady characters, they just added. Right. And now they just keep adding Spider-Mans like this says, and Batman.
And Wolverines and Hulks.
And Wolverines.
And Iron People. And
exactly.
And Captain
America. Captain's America.
Gwen Stacy now is every hero that's ever existed.
Yeah.
How did that even start? What was this fascination with? I missed that.
Okay,
what was fascination with Gwen Stacy that it got to this point?
It was a joke month around the time that the second Amazing Spider-Man movie came out, where Gwen died, and they decided to do Gwen as every character as a variant theme month. And there was a Spider-Gwen one, and then there was the Gwenpool one that were both, and apparently those variant covers were popular enough that I guess they decided, this is a funny joke, let's actually make them comic characters, and then figure out how to make it work later. And that's what they did.
Again, not planning for the future.
No, it was just novelty bullshit that got converted into actual comics.
Well, it's almost like the What If thing. Like a lot of real storylines started in What If. It was like, shouldn't it have been left there? It's supposed to be just a what if scenario, not something that is to inspire the actual line.
It's only the modern stories. Like they didn't back when What If was being published regularly as a monthly title, the first and second volumes that went up through about 2000, they almost never did those stories in the main universe. It's only in the last 20 years have they started to decide to mine What If books for
DC's doing it also.
Yeah, they're mining
Spider-Girl was responsible for that. Yeah, too.
Yeah,
on the Marvel side.
Yeah, because the Spider-Girl, the first Mayday, that actually led to the creation of the entire imprint, which was the M2 line that came out in like the late 90s. It was their first attempt before they did, well, their second attempt, really, because they did the 2099, and they're like, okay, we'll do this one, and then that failed too, so they did Ultimate.
The Ultimate Universe is cool, though. Like, Josh, the reason the Ultimate Universe ends up failing is because they just keep redoing the same stories that everyone had read, but in the Ultimate Universe instead of doing original stories.
Yeah, I think there's something to having these smaller pocket universes, and I think with DC, you're kind of seeing it to an extent with White Knight right now. Like, there's merit in doing it. I think with the Ultimate, you kind of just got screwed over with
your audio is
really terrible stories. Jeff Loeb came in and kind of, damn it.
You turned into a robot for a minute, but
then you came back strong. You're good.
Came back with my mouth breathing. I am the mouth breather of the panel.
You absolutely are.
He got possessed by the phalanx.
Barely. Okay, that's big.
I'll take it.
But it's one of those things, Gervais. Like, original storytelling is hard. But you don't have to tell like an exact derivative of what you've done before. You can change it a little bit and try and sell it as something new.
Yeah, it's just, and it's not only that it's just derivative. It's like it's repetitive to the point where it's like the time in between the derivative ideas is just getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's like, now with the new Justice League thing that we have, which clearly now it's apparent why they put that group together, because DC is really going all in 150% for Pride Month, which means they pretty much got until about October, November before they all get relegated to like wherever they get relegated back to where they came from. But it is hard to come up with original stories because if we're all being honest as creators, we're all ripping off from each other anyway, and especially going back. So, there's the old saying that imitation is the sincerest, I think it's imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But it's like, and that's true, but you still got to put enough of a spin on it that I don't realize it's really lasagna with Alfredo sauce over it until I get all the way into it. But nowadays, it's just like,
it's like
we're just gonna.
That's clearly derivative of Shakespeare, but it's a new setting for the story that makes it feel different.
I liken it to
like Prison Cage.
Well, I liken it to a very, very good like rock band that has been performing for decades, and they would put out new albums all the time, and then all of a sudden they just started doing remakes of their old tracks and only really releasing like they released like this like triple disc greatest hits because they got 30 albums, and then the next year they release it just the same but different mixes of it as a double disc, and they knocked like 6 tracks off, and now you're down to like a 6-song EP that is just played on repeat. That's it. The time between doing and all of the stuff that wasn't only their best stuff just got thrown away, and all they're doing is repeating it now.
Yeah, it's like you released your greatest hits album in 2015, and then you do it again in 2018. It's like, how about we get some more hits first?
Yeah.
And it's an unfortunate thing with the comics industry is that they just get on trend stuff. It's like the Marvels only really had 2 good anti-heroes, which was basically Wolverine and the Punisher. And then, and then it just became a point where, well, we can't come up with any good heroes anymore because we jumped the shark with Venom, the Lethal Protector. And it's just like, but this whole idea with now, we turn all the villains into heroes. And then since we have no villains left, well, let's take all the heroes and make them villains. And it's just like, it just gets to be a bit much. It works well when you're doing Buffy, like who's going to be the big bad for this season. And it turned, one year it's some totally new villain, and the next year it's one of the Scooby Gang. But then the next year after that is somebody else. But it's like, when that's what you're doing all the time, and sometimes with either no real rhyme or reason or inspiration, there's a word, with no inspiration, then it's like, it is what it is. And it's just like after a certain point, and then the other part is, and there is a real thing about this, I've heard this from a number of creators, is that some of the reason why original storytelling doesn't get done, because even going for as far back as the 60s and not the early 70s, they realize you don't get paid all that money for your original storytelling contributions. You make up these original characters, and you don't get no
Yeah.
taste, son. So it's like you don't get the Vig. So if you don't
That's
get the
what it
Vig,
is.
then why would I create an original character?
That's
good
why we're not getting, that next superstar creation that doesn't have to be a Spider-Man ripoff. Is that, well, I can go and take that over to Image or something like that.
Yep.
Especially if you're Scott Snyder, and it always makes me feel that when they do that they've been holding back. They're making their name and then they're hoping. I mean, you should do what you want, and if you can make it happen, more power to you. But we're not necessarily getting like the best Batman stories or the best, whatever story. And we're talking IPs, but like in manga, it's usually, creator owned all the way through, or creator owned, right?
In fairness, though, that does have a lot to do with the contracts that they're given. We're in a modern era. It's no longer you can't get published without the big publishers, and they have never adjusted their compensation model to actually incentivize.
Get it, Doc. That's right.
They haven't. I mean, look. I mean, it's.
All right,
we've talked about that before, though. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a point, but we're gonna have to skip it. You guys wouldn't shut up. Thanks a lot. We got a few super chats. Mr. DC Comics says, "Mask or no mask? What do people like more? Are you talking about in day-to-day life or on your hero?"
Yeah, right.
If you're running a
Heroes and
fever, wear a mask.
Absolutely.
That's what I say.
If it's a
If you
superhero
got the
movie,
sniffles,
mask.
if you're not old and it's
I
not
am-
sinuses, wear a mask.
I am
That's all I ask.
tired of seeing Spider-Man without his fucking mask
True.
on.
Oh,
Thank you.
without a doubt. If we're talking movies, don't take it off, man. I don't
Nope.
want your secret identity revealed.
There's
I
a
kind of like
reason why-
Superman, where you just change the hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it
That's
still
Take off
fine.
the glasses, throw a little twirl in there.
Yeah, but for a guy like Superman, it's understandable. But for a guy like Batman,
Right.
you need to be a little bit more mysterious.
Well, yeah,
right?
Superman could, move the speed of sound or whatever. He'd probably fly it real high. But Nightwing, he's just got the one little thing.
Yeah.
Chicks know what his ass looks like, but he's still able to maintain. His...
That's how they pick him in a lineup.
Does he wear
That's
spandex
America's
in
ass.
everyday life? is he wearing fucking yoga pants to the store? Well, he does have a man bun in that fucking
That
terrible.
was terrible, wasn't it?
He's
issue.
always
probably
had
wearing
weird
yoga
hair
pants.
anyway, Dick Grayson, though.
But-
When he first wore that Nightwing costume, he had the tail, remember?
Yeah,
Yes.
the mullet.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
The mullet.
I definitely
yeah.
prefer Wolverine with the mask, though. You know what I mean? As much
Yeah,
as I like Hugh
Wolverine-
Jackman,
Yeah,
he would have looked so much better with the mask on.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
We're
I
going to have
think
a
it depends on the
patch
character.
soon.
Yeah, Dread. The Dread movie is the bar,
Oh.
and nobody else
Yes.
has come close to it.
Yeah,
Yep.
That would have been a great Batman
Carl
movie,
Urban
too.
killed it,
Yeah, that was fantastic.
literally.
We've got General Ballsack. Fantastic.
I love him.
We need a Crimson Dynamo comic. Give the writers what they want. Screw the readers.
They did that.
Yeah.
I think it was back in whenever
Was
they
it
tried to
Philip
revive
Tan or
Epic.
something like that?
Yeah, they tried to revive Epic back in the early 2000s, and they had like the Daniel Way.
Oh,
I think it was Daniel Way that did it. And,
yeah,
and it-
those
it
Daniel
did-
Way comics back then.
It didn't
Ugh.
finish.
Fucking Wolverine Origins bastard.
Yes.
I'm not a fan, but
I'm not
whatever.
a fan either, but they tried. Daniel Way is the prototype for, God damn it, we need to make this guy work.
Yeah.
You saw what happened to old Ryan North, right?
Yep.
What?
They put his Secret Invasion on a hiatus indefinitely. I didn't see that one coming.
I honestly did it. They're like, why the fuck are we still publishing this?
We got Lade Craver. This is a Josh question. Welcome back to the stream. I'm confused. I look, there's a 15th issue of Joker in June, and it's listed as 15 of 15. This was a maxi series all along. Why is DC marketing so crap? I don't believe it was, Josh. I believe this was supposed to be an ongoing, and eventually the Joker and the Punchline stories were going to intersect, and that was going to be the main story after this part. But apparently, it got truncated when James Tynion left. Correct?
Correct. That is correct. I think he stuck around longer with Joker just to wrap up all the plot threads he had going, and even now it's a very fast wrap up. But yeah, no, this was not the plan.
They're so
Yeah, it
big.
wasn't supposed to be a maxi series.
It's so meta now that they're trying to retcon real life, where everything gets retroactively turned into a miniseries.
That happens a lot in comic books nowadays. Now they're even
Mhm.
putting stuff on hiatus. There's something else they put out. They delayed for a long time. I read about it the other day. I can't remember what it was because I didn't make a video. But thank you very much, Delayed Kramer, and everyone for support the channel. Really appreciate it. And yes, the Carl Urban Dread is the benchmark. Is that
Yeah.
the best superhero movie ever?
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
as
it's
far as
so-
accuracy, as far as
Yeah.
Oh, I see what
comic
you're saying.
superhero accurate.
Oh.
Yeah,
Winter Soldier is the best superhero movie ever, but in terms
But
of
it's not
comic
as
accuracy,
accurate to the comic book character
no.
as
No, it's not.
Dread is. That thing is like
Dread is probably the most comic accurate depiction of a character. I think. I mean,
yeah.
Does
they're
the
making-
losers count?
The Losers is really good too, man. I
It's
like
just
that
like
one
the
a lot.
comic.
it is
It's like a better version of the A-Team.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's very
It's gonna be a
it's
series.
very close.
The only other one I can think of was when they did the Frank Miller Sin City stuff.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
completely as accurate. There was some original stuff in there, especially in the sequel. But when there were moments in there that look exactly like it came out of the comic book.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. So, all right, enough to talk about movies. We got a couple more topics. What are we got? Christopher Priest returning to DC Comics on a Black Adam comic. Now, I only know one person on the panel that's actually. Did you work with Christopher Priest or did you just talk to him, Jermaine?
Oh no, I've never met Christopher Priest. So with this, the thing with Christopher Priest and Milestone is that he was involved with Milestone, like I guess right before they went into
Oh,
operation.
you just have stories of other people talking about working with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, there's nobody talks to Christopher Priest. You just it's just
You
like
just
it's
sit
like
not real.
you have people who it's like the what is it the seven what's that Kevin Bacon thing? What is that
Degrees
stupid
of
thing?
Six
it's a
degrees
6
of
degrees of
separation.
yeah, it's 6 degrees of Priest, and then if you start to get into when he was Owsley, that's a whole nother part of the Matrix. But yeah, no, it's with Christopher Priest coming back to DC, it'll be interesting, especially with him being on the Black Adam title. Like I said, I think a lot of people think he's probably one of the most underrated creators, definitely comic writers of the business. A lot of us definitely thought he should have been on the Milestone relaunch. I don't know what was the politics and or the dynamics behind that one. But I think I'm real interested to see what he's going to do with Black Adam. I said, I think he definitely made his mark with the whole Marvel Knights Black Panther run. It was probably one of the most creative takes on a character, if not a superhero comic, that I've been seen in a long time. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do with Black Adam. Yeah, it's but it's funny they put him on this and not on Milestone. But that's about it.
I still want him back at Marvel doing a Captain America series.
Yeah, that would have been a good
Yeah.
game. That would have been one. That'd been a
So,
first
Josh,
one
you're
right
the
there.
DC aficionado, man. You got the pulse of DC Comics readers. I think this is pretty exciting. Do you think this is a good fit for Christopher Priest?
I think so. I think Christopher Priest is a quality writer, and he was very outspoken about when they brought him back for Rebirth. He was like when they called him, the first thing he told DC was, "I'm not writing a black character," because I think he's confident enough and firm in his craft to say like, I have more to say than just this, and I applaud him for that. And it kind of opposes this trend right now. And I think you're going to get a different take on Black Adam. You're going to see a different side of him. Yep. I think he's going to respect the character. I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this, and I hope he just knocks it out of the park.
He's got a really good Justice League run no one talks about.
Yeah.
There's a very low-hanging fruit joke about not working on a black character, but only a
Black
character
Just in title.
Black.
They had to at least put it in the title.
It's a low-hanging fruit joke there.
Oh man!
This is
tell us when the stream is over.
Yeah, this is he made this comment like back in 2016, and then he ended up taking Deathstroke. So, but yes, yes.
So what are you thinking as a comic book retailer, Yule? What's your perspective on this? Was this going to move? We do have the Rock movie that's coming out, kind of not completely in conjunction, but it'll be out around the same time. Hopefully it'll drive some people in there. I think it was smart to put somebody that's actually has some craft about him to put him on the actual book. Because a lot of times they just throw the book out there and just put anybody on it.
Yeah. It's nice because number one, it's not somebody that's necessarily in DC's rotation. He's been around, like you said, before on Justice League and some other things. He worked at DC in the. It's nice, number one, that an older person is back in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's successful and writes. God, I love his stuff. He's so good. I agree about that Black Panther. It was a very good series. It's just so good, and his steel was excellent. And I mean, if he wasn't writing like black characters, like if I feel bad that he gets put in that situation. Like I have Conan right here that James Owsley wrote. You know, he's written a lot of Spider-Mans. I didn't know who he was, you know, at the time. It's very interesting, you know, his comments and stuff. And I feel for a guy that wants to like really put his craft out there and work hard on other things and isn't given a chance to. And I know he's had issues in the past, not wanting to like, you know, he's got Paul Heyman issues, keeping the wrestling.
Yeah, I just learned about that.
You know,
watching Comic Tropes. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it's the guy that expects, you know, high quality things, and if it isn't happening or being reciprocated, he probably doesn't like, you know, where he's at, you know, at the time. And he seems to be very humble about the situation. And I don't know, he's just really good. And I think with the movie, I'm going to order extra copies of it because there'll be people coming in after the fact saying, you know, oh, do you have anything Black Adam? And it's like, no, not really, because overall he was just a villain in JSA and Shazam and stuff like that. So now having something that can like totally be focused on the character is
You're not going to give him Bendis's Justice League run?
I mean, no, not really. I mean,
not really. That thing is awful.
Why would I want to like start some here's the middle of a series #1 and it's Bendis writing at #2.
The interesting thing about Priest is he has a style of writing comic books, specifically with transitions, that is different than almost anybody else in the industry. But really, if you think about it, if you hadn't read comic books, it would actually be really helpful because he gives you the information of where you're going to and stuff like that. So it actually could be a little bit easier for a new reader to get into.
It's like Frasier. And in Black Panther, he's all, Frasier stole this.
Yep.
So I think it's a good move. Do you got any plans on getting back into DC Comics for this, Carrie? I know that you're holding out for manga these days.
Well, I might. I did pick up Super Sons, so I might check this one out.
The omnibus?
No, I got actually issue 1. Somebody hooked me up with.
You only got one issue? Man, you got a lot of work.
I'm going to get more.
It's so good.
So good.
I know. I've heard you talk about it so much.
Jorge Medez, and you get some Patrick Gleason in there too. Actually, it's Patrick to begin with, and then it goes to Jorge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's congratulations. Discovered Super Such for the first time. So, I think this is good news. It's nice to see DC do something where they're bringing somebody back on a pretty big name character. Do you think they're going to make a change, Gervain, with Black Adam now that, you know, everyone knows what The Rock looks like? You know, they end up permanently changing essentially Samuel L. Jackson's, you know, movie character into the Marvel universe for Nick Fury, although he's his son. You think they start adjusting the looks of old Black Adam to maybe Dwayne Johnson?
Like, who knows, but most likely yes. I mean, it doesn't hurt. You know, if you have people who are coming, like say, you know, Yule, and he's got his stacks lined up and got his trays for them to come in and get it. It would probably help, you know, to help him move those books if the comic Black Adam looked like the movie one that brought him in the first place.
Oh,
but I don't
do it
think
with
it
Aquaman
hurts.
because it's too much of a change.
No, well, that's
they
different.
did give
So
him
you
the
know,
tribal tattoos and
don't
stuff.
get started on that one. Yeah, we'll get started with Aquaman. It's like the time Aquaman hit the theaters, was it Kelly Sue or whoever was doing the book at the time. It was so radically different than what was going on. It was just like, But with this one, I think, other than if you're not doing Widow's Peak Black Adam, I think it'll be. I think if they moved it more towards the Rock one, it's not like a huge departure visually. So yeah,
you excited to see him find a new version of Black Adam to give his power to? Because it sounds like he's dying or something, right?
I don't know. That's the only part I didn't like. I was just
why is this the right time to tell the story now that it's like killing off Doctor Strange right before the Doctor Strange movie comes out?
No. I was like, it's like, and not that I mind the Clea, how do you say her name? The Clea version of Strange. I mean, I actually think that's, even though it's kind of derivative of, well, let's take the ex-girlfriend and make her the new hero thing, but Daredevil. But all I'm saying is, all I'm saying is that it's like, yeah, that's why I said who knows, because the way these guys operate, you would think, knowing months in advance what their overall plans were, you just think things would line up better than this. But I don't claim to know what goes through the minds of modern day comic book publishers at Marvel and DC. Apparently, they know better than I. Their analytics are much more accurate than mine. But I would think that if I have a movie coming out with a guy who looks like the Rock version of Black Adam, I would not substitute an entirely whole new version of Black Adam when people come looking for the comics. But that's just me.
Yeah, but Marvel's always done that with their stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, Marvel made Wolverine like 6 feet tall instead of 5'3".
We do have a couple of super chats here. We got.
But he was supposed to be based on the Ultimate one.
He says, on Christopher Priest not wanting to be pigeonholed into black characters, I heard John Ridley wanted to write Batman, but DC wouldn't give him the chance.
Keep him the fuck away from Batman. In fact, keep him the fuck away from all comics. John Ridley is terrible.
Guys, Black Panther's actually pretty good. I'm actually liking it.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't suggest
everything.
No, but I didn't suggest
shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I didn't suggest Christopher Priest for Milestone just because they're black characters. Is because, one, he did have a connection in creating the original Bible for Milestone.
Yeah.
And the fear for a lot of us was, when it came to Milestone, was that Dwayne, being another master storyteller, much like Christopher Priest, who ends up pretty much taking over that role, him not being around for the revival, you didn't have an obvious person who would have the knowledge of the characters and the skill to pull off a Milestone for today. You know, and
Reggie Hudlin.
And I think that's pretty much been borne out. Yeah. You know, in the event that I might ever end up working with Reggie Hudlin or bump into him on the street, it's like, no disrespect, but it's like nobody was going, oh yeah, Reggie, it's in good hands. Just nobody was saying.
He did Boomerang, right? Wasn't he a producer?
Yeah, the Boomerang is great, but that ain't what I'm looking for a Milestone.
That's a lot.
It's like,
the early 90s?
Wait, the movie?
I like House Party too. All three of them. Yeah. I don't know if he was responsible for Dead Presidents. Maybe that would give him enough credit to do that, but
man, it's been a long time since. Oh my goodness, I'm losing the name. Was one of the biggest comedians in the world, Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my goodness.
But then you look at Reggie. But then you look at Reggie's. So if you use Reggie as a comparison, then you look at Reggie's run on Black Panther and compare it to Christopher Reeve's Black Panther, and you tell me who you would want running Milestone. Yeah, it is fair. All's fair in war. Totally
we got Lane Kramer who's backing up on Kenneth. He says, Kenneth, after seeing what Ridley did to Superman and other history in Red and Blue, I don't want Ridley near Bruce Wayne.
I don't want Ridley near any superhero comics. Everything I've read from him is terrible. He gave me he put a terrible taste in my mouth the first time I read anything that he did, and that was The Authority, Human on the Inside. It was fucking atrocious. And
but once you read something bad from somebody, you put a curse on them and you hate them forever.
No, I then become skeptical when it's their first. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt until they keep fucking up the exact same way, and then I expect them to fuck up that way again.
These are the progressions of shit, according to Doc.
It's called learning. Being able to predict the future by watching the past. It's not that hard.
My goodness. Basic comes back and says, Lane, good point, but his Black Panther run is actually good, and he's got better since then. I think his Black Panther run is really good, actually. It's an interesting take on the character. We got like political intrigue and spies and stuff, Gervais. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, and I was avoiding it, but now if you guys are saying it's good, I'll go pick it up.
Oh, you weren't reading it? It's good.
Look, so for some of you out there who have said, I had said King of Spies was good. So I'm not unaware of the fact that number 4 was above my $3.99 price threshold. But I will have you know that I have to drive to another store where on Wednesdays all new issues are 20% off. So I'm still maintaining my principles and paying that for it. I'm gaming the system, son. That's right.
You get $1 off. You get back in my wheelhouse. But,
I'm back in the game.
Are people liking Black Panther at the shop, Yule?
Yeah, it's good. I have pretty strong numbers on it. I mean, you know how the curve of comic sales go, but I have good strong sales on it. The third issue did really well because of an introduction of a character, so there's a lot of spec people on that one. But no, it's been selling really well.
Yeah, there's action in it. There's like a really interesting take on the character.
I mean, it's not something I haven't seen in movies or other things. You know, it's my people are getting killed and I'm calling them back. You know, and I love the fact that T'Challa is like he's kind of like Batman. You know, he doesn't totally trust everybody, and you know he's got his agents going around. And even though he's not king of Wakanda, or he is king, but he's not leading everything. He's untrustworthy to his own people. I dig it. It's cool.
He's like, this democracy thing sounds pretty stupid. I'm quite skeptical of it. You can go ahead and try it, but I got my plans over here that I'm doing.
Isn't that what we've been saying about Wakanda? They don't want to share that vibranium with us, you know? Dr. Doom's got to steal that.
Yeah, it's a good take. If you haven't checked it out, like, it's surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting much out of it. The last thing I guess we'll talk about is this Hellfire Gala sequel. I don't know that anybody actually wanted this, but we're getting it. Giant size Hellfire Gala. How excited are you?
I'm not very. Is it only one issue though this time?
Yes, 72 pages.
Thank you. Okay, I can.
But you're going to get Hellfire Gala variants on all the other Marvel X-Men books that month.
Oh, good, because I want to see what they're going to dress as on the covers. That's good.
Hey, you know what? Jerry Duggan is still pissed off. He can't wear a pretty dress to the Met game.
All right, dude. Seriously, was Iceman like the worst anything you've ever seen last year? Oh.
There was another dude that was wearing a dress last year too.
Well,
but he had like this ice bodice thing going on. It was so stupid. I expected like nipple clamps and everything.
He's wearing the Bret Hart sunglasses. I know. Yeah. Those are stupid.
But
they sold well. The variant covers sold well, didn't they? You'll be honest.
Well, Dodderman's a good artist, and he's got like a fan base, and none of those did well. I didn't go crazy on them, but the first Hellfire Gala did really well for me, and the variant cover is cool. I mean, there were people there like, I need to have every variant cover.
I think it's smart to just put the variant covers on real comic books. That way you don't just like suspend the line for a whole month for a dinner party.
Right.
It's a smarter approach.
I like that.
It is a smarter approach from a business perspective and a storytelling perspective, because there wasn't enough story to tell last year.
No, not at all.
Not by any stretch. And I mean, so they stick all of their fashion designer comic artists on this, because all the ones that are here are just people that were in the fashion industry before moving to comics.
This is not like when Storm got married and they got a real designer to come out and do the dress for them and everything.
No, Chris Anka was in the fashion industry.
Okay.
Same
Russell
with
Dowderman got discovered when he did all the costume designs for one of the Marvel movies, or maybe it was two of them. I think it was one of the Thor films.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, both.
I think it was Thor 2.
There's a third one. There's a third artist that they've had on and off over the years that was also came out of the fashion industry. That's why their comics never have any fucking action.
Right.
because they never learned how to draw action. They learned how to draw pretty close.
Yeah.
Man, Doc, you don't know how much action it takes to make a dress, man. That's a lot of hard work. You got to design it. You got to get the fabric. You got to sew it up.
I mean, does it move?
Yeah, you got to
flow.
Do the measurements.
You got to whip the labor in.
Yeah, but I mean, they're doing their fashion show comic with fashion show artists in a one shot. You know what? Honestly, if Jerry and the rest of the squealing girls that want to go to the Met Gala can get this, can I get a swimsuit issue again? That was better.
Yeah, that's what
More
I'm
people
talking
bought them.
It's funny that this is basic. They should make sure to do a summer beach special also, a Hellfire
is-
summer
right.
beach special.
Look, this series is the Hellfire Gala is the modern day swimsuit issue for girls and gay men. That's all it is.
I don't know.
we-
We've got a gay man on the.
We've
on
come
the
a long
channel. Are
way,
you
baby.
excited
Oh,
for this,
Damon,
Joe?
are you down, dude?
This your thing?
Well, let me just put it this way: if reading the Jackson Lansing Colin Kelly interview didn't make me throw up in my mouth, this did.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this
Tried.
is not my look. What I'll say is this is not my thing. I understand people enjoy it. I'm happy it's an issue instead of like however long it was last time because that was just
It's
stupid.
like 13
Oh
issues.
Jesus! You know, like just if you're gonna do it, I guess just do it, get it done, like get me out of my misery, and then let's move on. But yeah, I don't care.
I'm still trying to remember who the other dude in a dress was last year for the.
Sure wasn't
the
Namor?
one guy that got raped in.
Oh, Prodigy! Yeah, he wore a dress.
There was
That
like
was
three
the
of them.
other character.
But we also have a girl on the panel. Doc, we don't always get this. Carrie, are you excited for this? He says it's
No.
made for you.
No, it's not made for me. No.
Wait, you don't watch like top?
Are you not
no,
a girl?
No. Project
I'm a girl,
Runway and
but
stuff
So
like that?
Doc is wrong? Is that
No.
what you're telling me?
You don't do any of those reality
But
shows
then
like
again-
that?
No. Then again, I'm not like probably normal.
Project
so
Runway is pretty dope,
It's-
right?
Okay, fine. Let me clarify. It is the swimsuit issue for the Bravo network audience.
There you go.
Oh, that's a little bit more
There you go.
interesting.
That's better.
There you
That's
go.
better. I like
Hey, I
that,
watch
Doc.
Bravo.
That's- There you go. This is for you. Not if it's over
Bravo
$5.
used to have the surreal
That's
life,
right.
right? Where they got
Which
all
it
the D-list celebrities and they live together. Good
Oh.
back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day.
That stuff, the surreal life, man.
Are we gonna have celebrities in this one too? Didn't they have celebrities in the last one?
Oh yeah.
I think they actually
Mhm.
paid those people.
They
I don't
did.
think they're going to invest that kind of coin again.
They
Good.
paid to get a really poor art of Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt,
Really?
yeah. They probably gave him like $50.
I wonder if Kevin.
I mean, it didn't even
Kevin
look good.
Feige's going to have a big role in this one too.
Oh, I hope so. I hope it's everybody just like pitching movie ideas to him. Like Emma
100%.
Frost comes up and does that. And
Doc is trying to pigeonhole this comic book in readers. He's saying it's only for whoever. He's trying to do this stuff. Kenneth Dowling is a real man. He's been on the panel. He's a great guy. And he says if they make Storm look hot as she did in the last gala, I'll check it out. Get it, girl.
dude,
Basically.
the variant cover they did for Black History Month with Storm on X-Men, that was a really good one too. You might want to check that out.
Give me my fucking swimsuit issue. Seriously.
Look, I'll echo Kenneth and just say if I had Colossus's body, I would have worn what he worn as well. So why
Dude,
why not?
And now that he can grow a
Basically,
beard,
Yeah.
and has
No,
metal,
really?
he looks sharp.
No, no.
Man.
A button-up fishnet shirt.
No,
No,
looked
he had the
cool.
cape. He had the whole.
He was like
Yeah,
a bear.
but he
He's
had-
like a Russian bear.
But he
Yeah,
also
man.
had a button-up fishnet cape or shirt underneath it.
I dug it. I thought he looked.
That might have
sharp,
just
man.
been his aluminum body. You know what I mean? Maybe
I
those
always
are
think-
abs.
I always think about the first time Colossus was at the Hellfire, in like the John Byrne X-Men, and he's like, "This suit's worth more than my parents make in a year," and now he's wearing this big old cape and fur
He's like
thing.
a cow
and-
or something.
yeah, he's in now.
Poor Colossus. They're just
But Storm
destroyed
looked
that
cool
character.
too with that
he was-
rain cloud cape kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Colossus
Good.
was going to be an extra in the next Triple X movie. Whenever
Where
Riddick's
you going
over
with
in a fucking, German or Russian bar.
Yeah, Russian dude.
Is Rammstein going to be playing in the background again?
I like Triple X. I thought it was fine. State of the Union, not so much. I had to check out.
Yeah.
I just don't think Ice Cube was a good replacement for Vin Diesel. He didn't have the charisma to match it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why Vin
Well,
Diesel
Vin's
came
worked
back
it
for
out
the third
now.
one.
Vin Diesel's pure charisma. No.
He's Captain Charisma. Is he?
Yeah,
is
he's
he
Captain
Christian
Charisma.
Cage?
Yeah, he's got all of that stuff. Does anyone else have anything to say about Hellfire Gala? Feels like no one cares.
No,
I don't care.
No.
Good. Doc and I already had to talk about it earlier. There'll be a video about this, or at least
All right.
like 6 minutes of a video after we talk about X Lives of Wolverine #5 tomorrow. Let's talk about some the comic book recommendations this week. Yule Carter, you own a comic book shop.
Yes,
You
sir.
have customers. What are you recommending this week?
I recommend, obviously, we talked about World's Finest. That was good. Carnage #1. I'm not the kind of person that wants to read a Carnage comic normally, but I thought that was pretty good. It has that very Hannibal Lecter, like that program, where there's somebody dead and it's all messed up, and then it unfolds into the story dealing with Carnage. That was pretty cool. I don't know if I'll keep reading it, but that was good. Red Room started up with Trigger Warnings #1, and that one was really good. And hey, I just got Squatron in, and it's by Fantagraphics now. And it was basically like this art zine, and it tells you all sorts of interesting stuff. And if your store has it, I recommend you pick that up. And lastly, I'm reading, for an old one, I'm reading Conan 201, written by James Owsley, penciled and inked Andy and then Adam Kubert, and it almost looks like they're doing their father style. So get Conan 201 before it goes up in price now.
Very nice. Who else we got? Carrie, what do you recommend people read this week?
Well, I'm telling you, Jujutsu Kaisen is getting better. It's a great manga, and we're going to be talking about it later on today. But it's like, it's going places. It's getting better than it's been. Also, I read Rogue Sun, which you recommended. I like that a lot.
I'm glad you like it. That was a good comic book. So Jujutsu Kaisen, the movie is out this week.
Yes.
So once the anime
It's a
start
prequel.
coming in, the demand for the comic or for the manga is going to go up, like kind of through the roof. So get on it before there are no.
What
copies
company is that puts it out? Is that Viz?
It's Viz.
Oh, they said they're going to be better now, so we'll see.
I thought it was going to go until 2023.
Still waiting
but,
my One Piece.
My goodness. Well, at least you got show to jump. At least you could read the comic.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh, what? Hey, Wes, real quick, before going back to the Hellfire Gala for just a second, we missed a perfectly good joke. I wonder who Moira will show up wearing.
Oh, yeah. That'd be dumb. She's got like 6 variant covers. She's wearing Charles, and then she's wearing Kate. She's got the knuckle tats and everything.
She's wearing Banshee. She's wearing Siren. Ooh, go for the whole family.
Poor taste. Jeez.
That was great.
How did we miss that joke?
I don't know,
Doc.
Especially,
I'll be honest. When you interrupt me with
weird.
stuff like that, Doc, I'm normally perturbed. But thank you. That was well done. And it finally happened. Doc, what do you recommend people read this week?
Just Amazing Spider-Man. It was all right.
The BEY episode?
Yeah, it was actually it was okay for being a not Spider-Man issue. The Dot Beyond issues are mostly all right. I mean, they're okay. They're good at furthering the plot, but
they're good stories, and you won't feel cheated. But if you're expecting Spider-Man, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Any of the Dot Beyond issues you can skip, but they are solid comics. You're just not getting any Spider-Man in your Spider-Man comic.
Right.
That was pretty okay. X Lives of Wolverine, I recommend it more than I've recommended any of the other ones because all the rest of them were don't recommends. This one was you can read it and you won't be entirely pissed you waste $5.
I think you can read that comic book and just skip the previous 4 issues and get the story, and it's better. Like, I wouldn't be as mad if I hadn't wasted so much time on the previous 4 issues because this one was better and actually had a decent ending. So I'll give them that. We've got Kenneth Dowling in here. World's Finest #1 and Batman the Night #3. The Night isn't a year 1 retread like I thought it was, but it makes an official account of his trading. I'll stick with it. Great show tonight, people. Peace. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate the comic book recommendations there, Kenneth. Really appreciate that. Obviously, Kenneth was in the house last week, and that was a lot of fun. Appreciate that. And who are we at? We're at Jervain. What are you recommending this week?
Well, definitely. I'm glad to hear I made a good call on this one, even though I haven't read it yet. But Batman, Superman, World's Finest #1, so definitely recommend that. The Marvels #9. That's gonna go ahead.
No, I was just giving
Marvels
2 thumbs
#9.
up.
Yep. Marvel's #9. Power Rangers #17. Still think they're doing good work at Boom over there with that. Basilisk #8. Another one from Boom. Good series. And I'm gonna jump on you for this one for not mentioning it because I can't believe he did it. And Wes recommended this book to me as well. But Crimson Cage #4, man. It's like if you like pro wrestling and you like Shakespeare, and if you especially like territories, 70s, 80s territory wrestling. This is more NWA than WWE, AEW.
South.
This is the book for you, man. This has been
dope.
now they're starting to get a little bit to the
read
modern age with this last issue. Oh, you got to read this one. It's good.
I don't know.
Lee's
in
the it's like maybe the art might not be the style, but the story is actually pretty good. It echoes like that probably late 70s, 80s era wrestling, and it's hinting at now like towards like almost like how they're gonna move into the modern era with this supposedly big event that the title's named around. So if you're a wrestling fan, if you in any way have listened to anything, a podcast with guys by the name of Bruce Pritchard or or Arn Anderson or anything like that, and you like Shakespeare, this book hits all the buttons, man. And thanks to Wes for recommending it because it's right on the money.
If you're a Jim Cornette fan, you're gonna love this comic.
Yep, that's right.
Put that one out there. And Crimson Cage is great. Obviously, we've got Josh Williamson left. What's up, Josh? What do you recommend?
Buy my book.
Buy my book. I'm going to echo Kenneth. I'm actually going to say definitely get World's Finest. I would say get Batman the Night as well. I think that now that we know Chip Zdarsky's taking over Batman, I think he's planting seeds for characters and plot threads we'll see pop up in his story. So I think it's going to be a required reading that you probably don't realize is required reading yet. Other than that, man, I'm going to echo what I said last week. My whole goal is for people that see movies to kind of fall, or TV shows fall back into comics. Moon Knight, like go get Doug Munch's run, pick up the run between 2014 and 2017. They just collected Lemire and Smallwood's run in a single book. Like it's just so good. It's good stuff. So do it.
There's going to be a facsimile coming out of the first issue.
Yep. Of the Werewolf by Night or the
Moon Knight #1 Sienkiewicz.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. There's the epics are available mostly. They're going to be doing a collection, I think, of the Bendis one. It's if you got to have it, you got to have it. But it's available. Yeah.
It's different. It's not bad. It's a very different take.
It is. It's not my Moon Knight, but it's good. Yeah.
So me personally, obviously, we've got the best of the week coming up tomorrow with Drew. We've already scouted out the books we're going to recommend. You may have heard a few of them here. Now, I did get my deluxe edition Berserk hardcover #1. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I just barely got started on it. So I'm going to recommend Demon Slayer. It's time to give up and go to real comic books. This thing is beautiful. The art is fantastic. The story is very engaging. And if you finish it and you don't have money for the book, you can go to your Netflix and keep watching the story. That's what I say.
Or the
app. What's up?
Or the app.
Or you can go.
Do they still give free first issues over at Viz for people trying it out?
They have a special right now with another app. I can't remember the exact name of it, but you get the first issue of almost all their stories. This volume.
That'll keep you reading for a while.
I think it's manga something. I can't remember the exact name of that app, but absolutely, if you like comic books and you haven't tried out manga, try Demon Slayer. This is a great entry manga, if you ask me. And thank you very much to everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Comics Aficionados. And later.